Grace and peace be unto you from God the Father and our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Earlier, I posted something earlier about me and Christianity and the position that I'm holding, but I can't discuss that right now, but I definitely will get to it. I just sent the link. I just sent the invite to Vocab Malone, and because I had Brother Mohammed on here, and Mohammed made some statements, and Vocab hit me. One thing I can say, anything jump off. Vocab have always hit me if he heard anything that might have been troubling to him, or he heard somebody sent him a link, Berean said your name or whatever. People say whatever. Vocab would always hit me. That's one thing I'll say. Good to see you, Sister Lewis. And I was supposed to get on even a little earlier with Muhammad, but some things were said, and we're gonna try to see if we can clear some things up. Now, part of the problem that I have with just Christianity in general is sometimes we can just be ill as believers. Let's put it that way. People think about the Christmas tree. People been practicing things that's not the Bible. So when I say what I say about Christianity, it has nothing to do with the Christmas tree. You said it. No, see, I hope it's no troublemakers coming in. I'm listening. I speak my mind. Everybody know I speak my mind. So if anybody's bothered, y'all can keep on moving before we even get into it. Y'all can keep on moving. So there's some things that was said. I'm waiting for Vocab to come on. I see Muhammad in the green room right now. Now, I've had some people on here before, and things have went a little bit sideways, especially a few months back, where everybody's saying they believers and this and that, and things kind of went sideways. So I want to just bring it up. And Vocab says specifically he want to do it on my platform because it happened on the platform. So some of the same people he want to hear. He want to be able to share, share his thoughts or whatever on what he heard. And in all fairness, I do try to be fair. And in all fairness, I'm gonna try to see if we can get this thing happen. We can get this thing jumping. Let me just to make sure I think I sent it twice. Let me make sure he got this link right here. And I'm not sure if he's going to, let me see. I'm not sure if he might just be setting up. I know he said he was busy and they're a couple of hours behind us. I'm not sure if he's going to take any questions from the audience, but I am quite sure that people do have some questions. If he'd like to take some questions after these two brothers start talking, we can go in. We'll take it from there. We'll just see what's what. I'm gonna bring Muhammad on right now. Vocab should be jumping on in a minute. I just text just to see what's what. Muhammad, grace and peace, brother.
Grace and peace, shalom. What's going on?
Good to see you, man. It's a lot of stuff commented on the post. There's a lot of stuff that's been going on, and Vocab hit me. He wanted to talk. We were, and then I hit you on the way in from work, and he just wanted to clear some things up. It'll be good. Hopefully this will be fruitful that we can bring some things out. It's already some of them Christians, some of them other people. That's how much we can put this on the other thing. It's the most funny, and the funniest of y'all are the preachers. Y'all are funny with it. Matter of fact, let me do that right now. I denounce Christianity today. Anymore. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about some of these funny dudes with educations. They think only Christians gonna be in heaven. So we can go live. I go live with any one of you preachers. This week we can go live. Specifically you seminary trained funny cats. This is what I say. Trying to throw shots on a low boy. I say names. I don't play with you people.
You about to get me started.
You people not my friend. We gonna put it out there. Shout out to those that recognize who God is. Think y'all go too far with this religion And y'all think because somebody say they walking away from Christianity mean they walking away from Jesus. One last second, before Vocab either get here, let me throw this out here. Did Jesus come to start religion? Did Jesus come to start a new religion? Let's start right there with these funny dudes. But I ain't gonna get a Vocab coming on here. Now we don't want to now.
Let's hear it, Brand. Get into it.
Let me see what you. I'm hitting them right now. I'm waiting to see what's what.
But it's funny you said symptom though, Baran, is that I think a lot of people don't realize is that, you know, Christ, when he was talking to the Pharisees, the Sadducees, and the scribes, that represented the educational, the political, and the religious system of the time. So those are the same systems that we faced and we fighting primarily as the black community.
We gotta hey yo, shout out to Washington. Washington did hit me too, something with brother Yaakov Teo Ministries in here, and he said something, and I think we're gonna have to bring up some of that stuff too when we start talking about like Baker said, when we start talking about the Western Church, and y'all already know I call it the zoo. A lot of y'all part of the zoo. A lot of y'all bang for the game. Y'all might as well be Latin kings of bloods. Y'all bang for the game. And y'all can say what y'all want. I'm just because the platform has a variety of people. I hear people putting statements out there about oneness apostolics need to get saved. I ride with them. Just because I hear y'all funny people say that, I'm a ride. Shout out to my oneness apostolic folk. Y'all quick to put everybody in hell. Y'all funny. Y'all funny. Y'all, oh, they don't want to use the word Trinity. There's a couple of people in the Bible in the early church didn't use the word Trinity. Smart preacher, smart dudes. We're going to throw that out there. This beef is beyond the Christmas tree. And when we start talking about deep state, we got to bring some of that stuff. All right, Vocab, I done hit you, or he jumped off. All right, so he might be getting ready to get on right now. I know it's kind of early down there. Like I think he said, was he going to jump on 7 our time?
Got you mad, Baran?
Oh no, it's just the funny people. Then you'll try to bring them on. And the thing that kind of bothers me, Yolanda, I know this may not be nothing, but when Jesus spoke, Jesus drew a crowd. So don't just say people got a crowd. Oh, they talking. Of course, the world is going to go to the crowd. They're going to go to John the Baptist drew a crowd where he was. There's a lot of dudes running around here, elders and preachers and bishops and all of that stuff, and they can't. And it's matter of fact, it is disrespect. They can't in the time of COVID. They can't get 20 people in a room to sit down and talk. We turn around, we get 200 people deep in the room. It must be somebody's talking about something. Now y'all blow shots on them Facebook posts tomorrow if y'all want to. Funny people. And because I talk loud don't mean I'm a violent person. I got some violence in me, but because the Lord is working on me too, but I got to throw some stuff out there. People want to think they can throw me up underneath the bus because I ride with Israel. Boy, let me tell you, Christians, what y'all used to think y'all don't control no more. I'm talking to the deep state. If it even bothers you that I bring up the word Christian, you banging for Christianity and not for Jesus. I don't know if Jesus came to start a new religion. I'm gonna put this out there, and then when we start talking about this whole deep state, when we start talking about these evangelicals, it's a lot going on. Oh, y'all quick to blow some shots over here. Well, y'all was never blowing shots at the whole prosperity movement, running amok in the hood. They getting planes off of us, and all y'all been educated 20, 30 years deep in the church with the microphone. Y'all ain't been saying nothing. Now some people out here talking about their Israel. Now some people out here, y'all here in a different position. All of a sudden, y'all are funny. Y'all funny. So we can all get together. Shout out to my oneness. They ain't been blowing no shots at Prince Hall. Freemasonry been controlling the black church. They ain't been throwing no shots at no Greeks, and they want to come and throw shots at Israel. Come on, y'all funny with it. Y'all funny with it. Go find out your people been studying Kabbalah. Go find out what your people been studying coming from the South before y'all start bothering me. That's all I'm saying. All right. He said, you in where? All right, hold on a minute. Let me see. All right, let me see. I'm messing around. I'm over here talking my talk, trying to round myself up. Let me turn this heat down. I'm trying to round myself up, and he over here talking about he might be in the group from yesterday. Y'all know I'm slow now. I talk my talk, and I'm slow at the same time. Let me make sure I'm sending them the right link right here. But Mohammed, now, before Vocab get on, you know I love you, brother. Mm-hmm. So I had my homegirl on, Sister E. I said that I thought that thing was going to be one thing. It turned into a pure zoo. A pure zoo with them other folks. A zoo, I said. I'm like, Lord have mercy. I never expected so much beef just trying to bring people together to dialogue. Vocab, I don't see you. Is he at the bottom here?
Yeah, we could dialogue, Barim, but you know, I ain't talking sideways.
No. And it's okay to talk. Wait, he said he's in here. Hold on a minute. All right. Just go ahead. Just go ahead. Look at them comments whilst we. All right, let me hear it. Hit it again. Grace and peace, Apostle. Man, listen, I've been thinking about you. And listen, praying. I'm like, Lord, I got to get with the. Let me see. All right, I see it coming up in the link here, Vocab. And praying about a whole bunch of stuff. I'm like, man, I got to call Apostle because these folks. But then I remember Apostle a little radical too. I'm like, Lord, he ain't gonna encourage me to stay in the zoo. Because sometimes I look for people to encourage me to stay in the zoo, to try to stay in the deep state. But this, if God's not doing it, and I was always taught, word assassin, I was always taught you got to follow the leading of God. But so many people that I respect, they come from something else, and that thing that they come from, and even like I said, even my peoples, I guess I could say people, I blow at them, that's called apologists. I listen to some of what people say. My mind is always running. I'm always getting questions. I'm listening to what people saying. And sometimes I listen to y'all answers. And sometimes your answers are not, y'all think y'all giving good answers. Sometimes y'all don't give good answers. Instead of saying, I don't know, y'all come off with some other stuff. And I'll be like, wow, do they think they just answered that person's question? Do they think they just answered that person question? Cab, yeah, no, someone said, come on now. He just said, be nice in the thing. I just hit him in the link 2 times. Let me just. Who in here got vocab on their thing? I said I was going to send it to that other lady, but I don't even want to bring her up. I see she in here, but, and I said from earlier, let me see, StreamYard, I'm almost positive I'm hitting this thing the right way. He said he's in. How can he be in? All right, here's his name right here. All right, he's texting right now. Let me just see what's going on. He said he's texting. I mean, I see the little dots. Let me see. Let me see what this thing is saying. But outside of that, man, how you doing? Yes, I'm here. It says the woke man. Oh no, this is part 2. Okay, yeah. I thought something like that happened with all right, hold on. All right, hold on. Stay right there. What is the title saying right here? What link? Let me go off of the link that I sent you because I want to make sure this thing.
Mohammed Vocab talks.
All right, let me maybe I got it. Let me. Oh yeah. It's the one. It's the one from Pace.
Peace and blessings and shalom to everybody in the chat.
Yeah, look at some of them comments because I know it's going to be a bunch of comments.
I'm gonna let you know from the rip, Baran. This ain't no kumbaya, okay?
Yeah, but I'm gonna have to mute you and let him talk and vice versa, because it's gonna be some disagreements. I'm keep sending a link. I don't know how this thing is going. All right, here he is. Vocab, you can hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, that was from the thing from yesterday. I was just talking to everybody and I explained how you heard some things that kind of troubled you. One thing I can say, if I ever said your name on anything, you would call me and hit me. There's some other stuff. People, they don't know everything, but you got my number. You've always had my number. You know, any disagreements, any misunderstandings, you would hit me. I could say one thing. I could say straight up that you would hit me. You know that I ride with Israel. With what people would call messianics, I ride with them, and there's a lot of people that's offended because of that. And because so many people are offended, I am even willing, not because of no Christmas tree, not because nobody confused with law and grace, I'm willing to walk away from Christianity. I bangs on Christianity. There's a lot of stuff going on Christianity that I don't like, and it's okay. I don't have to like everything, but I don't think that you have to fight for the word Christian to go to heaven. You got to believe on the Lord Jesus Christ. That's where I am. But you heard some things that bothered you, Vocab, and I got Mohammed on here. You know, Mohammed was Dr. E right hand in the family, heavy with Epiphany and everybody over there. And you heard some things that troubled you, and rightfully so. You hit me on the phone, and so I appreciate you hitting me. There's other people out there that throw shots and just try to drop little things in Facebook. They'll try to drop little things on Facebook, but you call. What's going on? What's going on? Tell me. Mohammed, I'm gonna mute you. And I'm gonna let Vocab come on here. I'm gonna let Vocab speak. Come on, Vocab.
Yeah, thanks, brother Brian. I appreciate that. What's up, Mohammed? It's been a while. My main problem was the characterization by Mohammed, not only on your platform, but on Dante's as well, that Eric Mason is in it and controlled by money. That was the number one most bothersome thing out of everything, because I find it preposterous, profoundly untrue, disrespectful to somebody who's done a lot for a lot of us and a lot of people. And he takes a lot of hits from all sides. And regardless of any personal issues, to go on these platforms of people who really are enemies of Dr. Mason. I'm not talking about you, Berean, but some of these other things that have been said by some of the people that you're speaking with, and then you're talking about him like that. Nobody's really done more for what is happening right now than him. No one's encouraged more people. No one's mentored more people. You know, I mean, the Lord knows, you know, there's servants we don't know, but I did not understand why you go on these platforms and say, and even insinuate Eric Mason is controlled by white Jewish money. What would possess you while you're speaking about unity to go on here and speak about Dr. Eric Mason that way? That was by far the most troubling thing. There's stuff about me we could definitely talk about, but the shots you took at Dr. Eric Mason were the most egregious. That's my main issue. All
right, I'm gonna mute you right now. I'm surprised that when you hit me, you didn't say Mace. Now you didn't say Mace. I got some problems with Mace. And the way Mace handles certain things dealing with me. I got problems with Mace. Mace, if you want to jump on, you can jump on right now. I know you out here listening, or them minions gonna give you this work we finna give you right now. But when it comes down to certain things, there's certain people that, and we're going to have to get into this discussion. Let me drink this Red Bull Vocab. We're going to have to get into this discussion. I'm going to give it to Mohammed, but some people been blowing shots at Mace. It's interesting you bringing him up. James White blew shots at Mace. There's a few people out here that's already talking about the woke church, and some of them some of them you've been on their platforms before, and they're blowing shots at him. And I'm going to ask you about that. So I'm glad that you brought him up in this whole woke movement and just, this whole thing. But I'm going to even put my feelings to the side with Mace. Like I say, I can beef with people, but they're co-laborers anyway. It's interesting that even when it comes to that, Israel, a couple of pastors that are considered moderates, ministers that are considered moderates, even stepped up and say, even though we go back and forth with Mace and we say his name and do this and that, but we got to stand and see what this guy Jeff is doing. We got to stand and see what James White is doing against Mace. We know it's deeper than this. So we're going to stop our little back and forth, and we're going to even speak up. For shout out to them, and I can say they taking a high road with it, because I don't know if Mace would have spoke for Israel. This me talking, this Berean talking, Mace. Outside of Mohammed, outside of Vocab, Mace, only y'all know my wife. I broke bread with Vocab before. Muhammad know who my wife is. Mace know who my wife is. They know my government. They know my cell phone number. Come on, Muhammad, get the microphone.
I mean, first of all, I want to know what your motive is here. First and
foremost.
All right,
wait, Vocab. All right, I got you muted. Go ahead.
all, what your motives are. Second of all, Pastor E is a grown-ass man.
All right. We're going to try to curve.
Here, saying anything in regards to that. If we're going to talk about anything or anybody, we're going to talk about you. Simple and plain. If we want the discussion to be about you, let it be about you. If Pastor E is a man, he says certain statements, public, in regards to me, both in front of believers and unbelievers, and I made my statements in front of both believers and unbelievers. If he has a problem, he can tune in right now live and address them problems. We don't need you to address another man's issues.
Just be careful, because a lot of
black man's issues.
All right, hold on, and we're going to talk. All right, Mohammed, we're going to get to
black business right now.
Okay, no, hold on, Mohammed. We're going to get to that too, because vocab, people feel some type of way. I'm going to put my feelings out there. I'm going to say what's what. When it do come, I'm going to let you finish saying what you want to say to Mace, but when it do come to Mace, especially when I got on the phone with Mace behind them other people, when the whole thing got blown up, and I said, Mace, two things with Pastor Kelly. When Pastor May just hit me and Damon Richardson wanted 1,000, I'm going to put it out there, wanted 1,000. I hit Mace on the jack. Mace, my hand on this Bible. My hand on this Bible, Mace. I hit Mace on the jack. He said, let him get his money. So what? I said, it's a bad look that he's asking them for $1,000. They hit me and said he wanted 1,000 to debate when he was ready to blow shots, and we were blowing shots at Omar Johnson and polite about debating the money. So Mace could say who want to get money. He gonna say who he want to get money and who's not supposed to get money. Mace, you call the shots. Every video I got out there with Adam Coleman, you told me, at the conference, me and Vocab spoke. You said go do a video with Adam Coleman. You calling the shots. You said go do a video with Jerome Gay in your office. I said whatever it is, you quarterbacking this thing. Then when stuff jump off, when things happen, Mace try to act like he's not quarterbacking it. You quarterbacking the whole movement, Mace. This is me talking right here. If you want to jump on, hit my phone, I ain't never blocked you in the midst of everything you said. And then when the thing jumped off with me financially, you already knew 2 years ahead of time what happened with that money. You know I didn't have a 501. Every video I ever did with Mace that I went to Philly, Mace paid me through the PayPal. Mace, you want to drop a video in your mouth, and I'm saying this in love. I hate that all of this got to come out here, but it has to come out here right now. I know Mace could be in the background. So Mace might have. Maybe Vocab is doing this on his own. Or maybe Mace might have, and I know Mace has even hit me. My hand is on God's holy word. Mace has hit me. I like that, He didn't say I didn't like it, but it's like, you said, this video better than that. I said, Bishop, what you want me to do? Take it down? He said, yes. How many times I took down videos you ain't like, Mace? I went out for you. How many times I hollered at Epiphany Church, all the Epiphany churches, when you say you starting a movement, Mace? This Berean talking. Come on, Vocab. We gotta, and we didn't even pray, because we still brothers and sisters. Vocab, people feel a certain way. People have brought up certain things, and I've even said certain things. I said, what happened to Shield Squad? How come Vocab rise to the top? I told people in multiple videos, Vocab is very important, because Vocab introduced Hebrew Israelism, or people that call themselves Israelites to European Middle America. So I can't act like in the apologetic community, you're not an important voice. So we got to discuss these things. Mohammed brought something out that how can he be in the midst of it, especially Mace, my hand is on that Bible again. After that whole thing with you and Jay, the producer, I did put a video out there on Facebook. I put a video out there. I said, Vocab, don't play with the culture. Basically, that was a beware of the culture video. No threats, you peeps. Later on, I don't know if it was that video, but multiple times, a few times you've hit me on occasions when you've heard something on the video you didn't like. That's talking about laugh at. And what's this other funny dude name? I'm sorry, y'all, because that's not Christian talk right there. I'm going to try to be the other. What's the brother name for Jersey? Always be riding the bike, going out there messing with General Yohana and all of them. G, man, do you love Vocab? They don't know Vocab ain't think jump off. It's like, Vocab messed up. He demonetized. I hit Vocab Jack. What's good? Send me that link. Y'all don't know what's going on behind the scenes a lot of times. I talk reckless. I talk crazy, but these are my co-laborers. What it is, Bishop? Bishop think he want to expel me from the... Listen, I love y'all, but I'm not playing with y'all. I'm grown out here. But Vocab, people do feel a certain way. And I don't know if you're going to answer questions later on, but we got to put this out here. Muhammad, I'm going to try to tell you, refrain from language, because we did beef about the dude, Pastor Jeff, talking about, not saying Mace specifically, about the woke movement and using just degrading language. You're talking about the woke movement. Vocab, you got the floor. Sometimes I throw a couple of questions, a couple of things out there. But how you come on here, when you hit me, I thought it was going to be specifically about, you and him, talk about you and could be an agent with the fan. I'm thinking it's going to go, we going more in this direction. But you brought up Mason. That's good. Shout out to Lady Mace. Listen, I told crazy, but listen, I know y'all are God's people, and y'all out here trying to put in work. I say from the gate, I didn't like the way Mace handled my moderate people, and then people already told Mace, Berean got to lean towards them folk. I don't play with Israel. Shout out to Israel. Come on, Vocab. I'm sorry. Let me, go ahead, brother.
I knew right when I got involved with all this, some of the types of hits that would come. So, I go in all kinds of crazy environments, both virtual and physical. And so I'm okay with whatever. I can handle it. I wasn't really going to say nothing because everyone's always saying something on the internet. I get that. But when someone who is involved and then turns around and slams the whole community, including the biggest encourager, the person who's put the most people on, the person who's helped the most people, the person who shepherded the most people, the person who served is probably the best model. No one is saying anyone is perfect. I don't see how you could be there, Mohammed. When Dr. Mason is taking some of the worst heat and be there in the middle of it and then turn around and talk about he's controlled by white Jewish money. That seems like an utter betrayal on a level that I don't comprehend. And doing so in front of people who live for the red meat of division. Dante Fortson eats that up.
Shout out to Dante. Shout out to Minister Dante.
That man makes up lies quicker than Jim Carrey paints those elementary school level paintings. He said Sister Cherry was a closet lesbian because of her subscriptions on her YouTube channel. And now he refers to her as Sister Cherry LGBTQ love. And I believe he did so in your presence. On that same
show. No, I ain't never heard that. Hold on.
Now I'm trying to understand why that's all good to you. You could come out at me however. I'm okay with that. But to lie about Dr. Mason the way you did is shameful.
Okay, wait a minute, Mohammed. Wait a minute, Vocab. All right, Mohammed. I've Mace, my hand is on that Bible. Me, you, and Jerome upstairs on the conference of the year me and Vocab spoke. He spoke on Israel. I spoke on the conference committee that year. Matter of fact, I'm going to, before I even put my hand on this Bible, God's holy word, in our presence, Mohammed, do you know Mace better than Vocab know Mace? You've been around Mace. Has Eric Mason ever received support from a group of European organizers outside of Epiphany? I'm going to unmute you, Mohammed.
Once again, Vocab, if Pastor Mace needs to address me as a man on a live, he can do so. As a man, if you feel I said something offensive to you, then you need to address your issues with me, and let's be specific about the issues that I put your name in specifically, not Pastor Mason, not Minister Dante, not Sherry, not whoever else. I'm not deflecting the situation. We're going to deal strictly with, I'm not here to play shenanigans with you. I'm not here to justify myself to you. To me, you are nobody. I don't have to prove any point to you. If you want to address issues or deal with statements that I've said to you and about you and your presence inside the whole overall community, let's do that. That's how men do. That's how men talk. And that's what we're going to deal with. Pastor E can call in right now if he has a specific question or if he has a specific grievance. Anything that I said, I'm not backtracking on.
Hold on.
I don't speak words out of my mouth that I'm going to backtrack on. I'm not going to speak sideways to you. If I say it to your face, you better believe I've already said it to somebody else.
Same here. Somebody just hold on, your vocab. Hold on with Dante, because of course Dante immediately, he probably up in here. Shout out to him. He immediately hit me. Okay, here they go. Put Dante on. Put Dante on.
Right, we're not gonna play. We're not gonna play.
No. He will. All right. Let's deal. I'm gonna mute you, Mohammed. Let's deal specifically with some things. Vocab. People feel that you have stirred certain things up in the community with. But first of all, when you were originally on, when I originally met you, and you were originally on, you do the majority of your numbers dealing with One West doctrine. You have established yourself as a One West teacher, and the errors in what you believe to be One West, all of the camps. And then later on, I think everybody can agree that it's fair. Later on, Sister E and Pastor Kelly and Messianic believers, people that I ride with, Messianic believers, the Teo ministry and other people, their names started coming up after the fact. A lot of people feel that it could be because, the vocab, you've been in the hood before. You know how it is. You understand COINTEL. You understand that the feds had them, the government had them alphabet boys, had them on Dr. King, had his phone tapped, or had understand that they had him on Malcolm X, Elijah Muhammad. They've been on the scene. They've been sending infiltrators. It's been that going on. So it's no big thing that we would bring that up. Is vocab an agent? I think they was originally outside Sister E. You was called an agent more than anybody else that in these circles discussing certain things. So it's a little interesting that you would come on here and start bringing up Dr. E. Ain't nobody think about Dr. E right now. Shout out to the bishop. Ain't nobody think about Dr. E. Have he put in work? Yes, absolutely so. I don't want people, and this is where the thing get confused. People think Dr. Eric Mason gave me a platform. When I met Eric Mason, I had thousands of followers. Lisa Fields caught me because of Eric Mason. I was already on. And this is some of the confusion, but I can't say that Mace has quarterbacked it. Mace wrote that woke church. A lot of this stuff is jumping on behind Mace. Part of the problem is when Cherry and them, when Faithful and them was on the channel, when people started saying they wasn't saved, and Mace asked me, talking about who said they ain't saved. I said, Cherry and them, what you gonna do about this? I'm not gonna even discuss that. I got other videos talking about that. He tried to act like he innocent. Mace, you quarterback this. But go ahead. I don't want to talk about Mace. I don't want to talk about Mace because it's enough other people coming against Mace right now. Will you stand up, vocab, before, I'll let you say this last thing on Mace. Will you stand up with Mace against what James White, against what Jeff, what's this other dude name talking about the woke church? I'm sorry, brother.
Are you talking about Jeff Durbin? Yeah, that sermon was composed of basically a big, massive generalization where you take a bunch of people with disparate views, throw them under one umbrella, and then critique that artificial mass you've created, which is unfair because if you don't name names, in which wasn't really done to my knowledge, unless I missed something.
No.
Then what happens is people fill in the blank based upon that. And that's really unfair. And you should definitely make sure you're careful in those instances, especially when you're planning on such a strong denunciation. So that's a massive problem. I actually wasn't really too
worried about it.
No. Hold on. Let me see. I wasn't too concerned about the curse word. I was concerned about the massive generalization that happened. That was the main problem. And my charge would be that Muhammad literally did the same thing to the urban apologists. He did the same thing. Now, he don't want to speak on his lies. And I see he's running from it because he's trying to use some kind of like shield, like, well, this isn't your, okay, I see that's how it is. You just don't want to deal with it. You're not gonna come and back up these statements that you made about Dr. Mason. Okay, then we can deal with what you said about me, but just let the record show when it was presented to you, you ran away from it. You're trying to use some kind of shield.
We hope that Dr. E could come on if he feel like addressing these things. Everybody know we're not crazy. Everybody, I know he ain't gonna come on. Mason ain't gonna debate.
He didn't put me up. He doesn't even know this is happening.
I know. Mason right here, right now. Mason know this thing's happening right now. Mason know what's going on. Mason ain't gonna get up. Mason ain't gonna speak out, and he don't have to speak out right now. It's all right, Mason. You don't got to speak out. But at the same time, when we say woke church, when we say that movement, when we say who quartering the majority of people in the urban apologetic community, is Dr. Eric Mason. He fought this movement that we call this woke movement. All what these people out here talking about, these European evangelicals, they know that's Dr. Eric Mason. All right, that's enough of him. We're going to go back. Get back to Muhammad's question. I'm going to unmute you, Muhammad, where a lot of people are worried about vocab. And I can tell you some questions are going to come up about deflecting vocab. You in the community, have you generalized, demonized, generalized, or demonized? I'm going to let Muhammad talk first. But have you generalized or demonized Israel? Wait, just hold on with that vocab. Come on, Muhammad. I'm gonna let you talk before they start hitting me. Berean, you drank the Red Bull. You did all of the talking. Come on, Muhammad.
First, I'm gonna let you know part of the reason why I'm hot with you right now, vocab. You sent me a message earlier, and at the end of your message, you're gonna put on here, if not, I respect that, but I may need to address it in another way if you won't speak to me directly, man to man. Like, don't post no threats to me, bruh. Don't tell me what you gonna do if I don't talk to you, man to man. And like I said, like Pastor E, it's an open forum right now. Why do I have to answer you? Pastor E can jump on right now and I can answer him. I don't talk in rooms about other men. And if they want to ask me a question, they're sending somebody else to do the questioning. That's like me telling somebody, hold on, before I answer your question, let me get somebody from the comments to speak for me.
Okay, now he did say that he didn't. He said Mace, he might have done this on his own. Vocab said that Mace did. It's not like Mace hit him and Mace told him, go straight now, A, B, C, D. Go ahead, Mike.
I'm not going to have somebody else speak for me on such an important issue. If the issue is important and if the issue needs to be addressed, then that person should be here addressing it.
Hey, man, maybe he'll go address it tomorrow on his platform.
I didn't do one. It wasn't for 5 minutes. These are 2 videos. One was 2 hours. One was an hour. A lot of dialogue and conversation with somebody. If they needed to address me, I could be having that conversation with them and not you. I refuse to allow you to be the median of anything, vocab. If you want to talk about me and you, let's do that.
Is there anything specifically, vocab, that you heard Muhammad make? He been on, like you say, he been on with me the day before with Minister Dante before, and he said certain things. Maybe I can bring this out here because I know a few people did hit me with that and say, well, I agree with that too. Why is vocab involved in our business? You want to address some of that? I'm sorry, somebody said I'm a bad moderator. Come on, Vo.
Yeah, the reason I let you know is because if you said no, then I would just simply do a live stream where I would debunk your lies in a separate stream. But I wanted to give you a chance to do it face to face first,
on the same platform,
unlike you never did with me. Now, let me address then, since obviously you don't want to defend what you said about Dr. Mason, which is extremely egregious. Let's deal with what you said. You try to present yourself in both these places, and I got to tell you, I try to have a lot of empathy because I know the reality of church hurt, and I know the reality of an imperfect bride at this point, but that can't let lies slide. And I'll tell you specifically some of what I mean. You try to present yourself as this soldier who had this separationist attitude from me from day one, but you should open up your Facebook Messenger right now, and you should go back to October 2016 and see who contacted who first, sir. Hey, brother, check out my site. Look at this. Look at this. You said, well, Dr. Mason tried to get me to dialogue with vocab, but, I wasn't going to do that because I knew he was a snake and a devil and this and that. And yet you sent me this to promote the site, which I did. And I actually had already done before you even hit me up because I respected what you were doing. And then when you hit me up, I just said, hey, it's a good opportunity. My response, thumbs up. Immediate invite. We're going to talk about the issue tonight in a podcast. I gave the time. Maybe you could join us. You said, okay. My brother Surreal was the one running it. It was on a thing called Real Talk Solutions. Talk Real Solutions, rather. The date it went down looks like around October 19th, I think, is when we did this on Blog Talk Radio. And at the end, we even defended the gospel against some Kemet's, the 3 of us together. And so this narrative that you've pushed, and I could go on and share more, this narrative that you push about this soldier who saw this person from far away is absolutely false. Not only did you lie, acting like Pastor Mason is driven by money when he's in one of the hardest realms there is to be in right now in modern Christianity, you lied about our relationship. Why would you do that? Just speak the facts. You don't have to make yourself the hero of your own story. Just tell the truth.
Okay, hold on, Vocab. I'm gonna mute you for a minute. This dude talking about Vocab. Vocab is got a lot of videos in the urban apologetic community. Vocab hit me and Vocab asked to jump on this platform so he can discuss this. So Leonard, all the slick stuff you saying before you get up out of here. Listen, followers, I got more followers than you and probably almost every urban apologist out here. I'm doing my numbers. You dudes are funny. You dudes are funny. You pastors, you leaders, you elders, whoever y'all are, it's a good chance I got more subscribers than you do. Come on, bruh. I'm talking about I'm bringing y'all on here for this and that. Brothers wanted to air out. We're going to air. They wanted to discuss some stuff. We're going to discuss some stuff. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Now,
Let me get rid of this.
I really hate the fact how you try to manipulate the timeline. Anybody can go on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and see the timeline. I'm going to show you my own thing right here. You see this message? This message right here was the message from Vocab today. This is message right here is from 2016. It tells you right there, 2016. This is when I first launched Urban Apologetics. I didn't know who you was. And Eric Mason had told me to hit you up. Remember when we talked, that was our first time talking. I never talked to you before then. I had no idea who you were. Once I found out who you was, then I made a decision not to deal with you like that. You can't show me one phone call, show me one call record, show me one text message where I was dealing with you like that. Please, because the timeline is 2016. We're in 2020. We're talking a whole 4-year difference, man. Don't try to manipulate people like I was out here building with you and dealing with you, and I wasn't. I never did anything with you. Why are you trying? I mean, I'm trying to figure out, like, this is the lies that I'm talking about that you're trying to paint this facade in the game, bro. Like, come on, stop. It's 2016.
Go ahead, Vocab.
Well, the point was about the deconstruction of your narrative. This casts massive aspersions on your ability to tell the truth because you go around making yourself the hero and people like Eric Mason, the villain. You said he told me to contact Vocab, and I never did. I told him I would never have a conversation with him until he stepped to the white Ashkenazi Jews. And yet you did. We did stuff together. And then in 2017, when we met in person
at the conference,
love. 2018, I wasn't there. 2019, we saw each other during the debate with Bantu and Jabari. You told me what you're gonna. You told me what you told me. Notice I didn't trip. I don't. People could take their own routes and directions. You told me then it was gonna be a little bit different and mixture of this and mixture of that. I didn't lose my mind or nothing. You're on your journey. It's the lies though. Like I just showed that you lied when you said I didn't deal with him until he said he's on Ashkenazi Jews, and yet we dealt with each other. And there's also in person. So why tell this narrative? It just shows you're willing to throw the facts aside. Throw people like Dr. Eric Mason, who's already got enough hits as it is, throw them under the bus to make yourself the hero of the story. And listen, you know why this is sad? The second these Hebrew Israelites feel like they've got all they can use out of you, they're going to cast you to the side. They don't care about you. They don't care about you. They care about some tea you can spill. Once your tea is spilled, these dudes are going to drop you off on the side of the road. You're lucky if they give you $2. Don't invest in these dudes as going to be some brothers. I've seen what really goes down. I respect the church hurt, and I respect that, but don't lie as a result.
All right, he done said a lot right there. Listen, I'm riding. All right, I'm gonna unmute you right there. I'm gonna let Mohammed speak. You said a lot right there. Go ahead, Mohammed.
Like for one, I'm about to discontinue this conversation because he just keeps lying. Now listen, I will give $500 today. I'm putting a $500 today. He clearly just said that he talked to me when we was with Vince Bantu and Jabari. I wasn't even at that debate.
You was in Epiphany Church when it went down?
I wasn't even there when it went down.
Oh no, you ain't lying. I was there. Yeah, I came in late, man. It's like I don't even know if I. You sure? You sure?
Anybody from Epiphany can log in right now and say if I was there. I will give you $500 if anybody can prove I was there.
No, I was there. I got late, but I don't think I didn't see you.
Restoration process. I was not even there. See, once again, you straight bold lie out your face just to try to make yourself look good.
Okay, Vocab, did you
miss right now?
All right, I'm muting him right now. I'm gonna unmute Vocab. Did you misspeak right there when we come about that? And another thing, I'm gonna say, I gotta throw this in there. I'm the moderator. I can throw this in there. I hope you get the James White and Jeff and all the rest of them like they got it, Mace. Even in past discussions, I hope you stick up for Mace when them Europeans talking about him. Go ahead.
Did we not talk in 2019 and you said, I'm taking a different direction? Were we not in Epiphany Fellowship? And you said, I'm going to have a mixture. It's going to be
different. With Dr. Bantu and Jabari?
If it wasn't at that debate, it was either that Sunday
or remember.
It was the Sunday. Hey, well, I know it was in the church.
Okay.
Did we not talk in 2019 and you said, I'm going to be taking a different direction? Is it either the Sunday after the conference in 2019 or is it the Sunday after the debate? I know that we talked to 2019 at the church. Are you denying that? If it wasn't at the debate, that might be true. I talked to like a group of people there, but don't say it didn't happen in 2019 because we definitely talked to 2019 at Epiphany. And the 2 times it could have been there because I was there twice were either the Sunday after the Jabari debate, if that was it, or the Sunday after Thriving because I went to service both times. You know, we talked. If it wasn't that day, excuse me, but we talked. My point is relevant because I'm saying we talked since then. And notice, I don't do something without telling you. I'm telling you directly. The first time I heard what was going on with you, it was a speaker at Thriving, not Mason, who said, hey, I don't know what's going on, but this dude clearly has a problem with you. You was running around Thriving, talking trash about me for no reason. I didn't know there was some kind of problem. So you talk about, oh, I say it to your face. You never let me know there was some kind of issue. I found out from one of the fellow speakers at Thriving the year I wasn't there. Yeah, this dude was talking all kinds of trash about you. So you might want to, and I just said, well, you know, okay, whatever. So I don't, you know, again, you're trying to paint yourself a certain way, but let me tell you, you said, oh, if Vocab tried to talk to the gods, you get his throat slit before he walked in the room. And I don't see him out in Mecca. Bro, there's videos of me in downtown Chicago, on the south side of Chicago, Oak Cliff, Dallas, and in Harlem, and a number of other places, including Times Square, speaking to Hebrew Israelites. I don't know what you're talking about. Bro, if you want to take it there, because you're painting yourself as the hero of the story, what are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Maybe you could. All right, yeah, I'm gonna unmute him now. Maybe you could address that other thing too, Vocab, about far as how you feel the Israelites will throw him under the bus like he wasn't riding with Israel way before this. Go ahead, Mohammed. You're unmuted.
I mean, I'm not going to continue with this childhood.
No, you heard what the pastor said. Don't leave. The pastor said, "Don't leave."
But like I said. Once again, he's saying that somebody told him that I didn't like him. Now he's saying I did like him and that we was building. This is the simple understanding of how you need to see things, Vocab. We're part of the same community. You don't have me talking to you. You don't have me texting you. You don't have me doing conferences with you. We're not on phone calls. We're not collaborating. That should tell you something right there, Vocab. Okay? So I said to be disrespectful in the hood in these communities. I guarantee you go there being disrespectful, it's a whole different scenario. That's what I was making acknowledgement of. I saw you inside these city neighborhoods, but when you was inside those city neighborhoods, you wasn't acting disrespectful like you be acting all crazy on YouTube. I know that much. I know you didn't. I know you wasn't in the hood and no Islamic neighborhood doing no Islamic parody. I know you wasn't doing that much. On YouTube you was. But you wasn't doing that same thing in the hood. So I'm always going to be consistent in what I'm saying about you. Once again, we have no relationship. I never banged with you like that. You want to make it seem like I did and I didn't. I don't know why. And you keep bringing up somebody else that can't even be here to talk for themselves.
What questions you?
Why you keep deflecting to another man about my relationship with him? If it's such a big problem, then why can't that person be on here? And secondly, you ain't say nothing about the whole how you know what I spoke about what went down. So once again, you jumping on the side and you don't even know the full story. And the story that was revealed by me that I put out there, unless somebody is backbiting and eavesdropping on another side, then I gave a story. Correct.
Let me. All right, I'm gonna unmute. I'm gonna mute you now, Mohammed. I'm gonna unmute him. Mohammed, before I do, is there anything you'd like to say specifically?
I want to get past this. Like this.
That's what I said. Is there anything you'd like to say specifically? Is there anything you'd like to say specifically about vocab and how you feel vocab is doing ministry in urban setting that maybe, let's say, could be divisive or?
I feel vocab.
I thought that's go ahead.
In the sense that he is not sensitive to the needs of the community. He is not sensitive to what's going on. Let me give you an example. Even when you talked about the so-called slavery parody and how you said that, it really wasn't like that. It was about the UPK and this, that, and the third. And then you went around and did it a different way and this, that, and the fourth. My point is this. Most people of other cultures in their right mind, when they feel like they offended somebody, they step back from the situation. They analyze. They take feedback. They look at what this community is saying about them, and they may try to do things a different way. You don't. You come back with more disrespect. You come back with more reasons for people to talk about you. You come back with more divisiveness. You come back with more of a superiority complex. I got a ton of white friends who I love to death. But guess what? When certain issues come up, if they feel like they offended me and vice versa, they're not going to be all gung-ho about going back and addressing certain issues in a more offensive way like you do, in a more divisive way like you do. So to go back to what I was saying about Vocab Malone not invited to the cookout, that's the same mentality. When you go to a black cookout, a cultural cookout, and the people are celebrating family, people are celebrating community, they're not going to allow somebody from the outside in culturally to come in and cause cultural family conflict. That's what that means, vocab. So obviously you don't understand the dynamics of what I was talking about. It's a simple cultural element. It's a level of respect. And vocab. You fail to heed it because you feel you have a superiority complex of dealing with these cultural elements.
Vocab, you think you're the Vlad of you the Vlad TV of urban apologetics?
Nah, man, Russians ain't got no soul.
Oh God.
That's the joke, but what it is I don't think anything about supremacy, Mohammed. I just think you're a liar. It ain't about being supreme. It's about you being a liar. You can try to change the subject all day, but it's about you being a liar. Now, it's the same thing. Anytime Christians step to somebody with bad doctrine, they come with these little kind of sensitive slurs back. You step to the J-Dubs, they want to excommunicate you. Step to LDS, you're anti-Mormon. Step to Romanists, anti-Catholic. Step to Muslims, you're Islamophobic. You step to the Scientologists, they sue you. Step to the LGBTQ+, they call you homophobic. Step to the pro-choicers, you're anti-choice. This is the same thing over and over again. So name-calling and trying to say all that, it should not have effect on a Christian apologist. If your goal is to please man, then you're in the wrong game. And it seems like that's what you're interested in. That's something else I took issue with. You said if a dude tells you his name is God, you'll call him God in the conversation. That's the blasphemy of compromise you've embraced at this point. That's why you probably don't like me now, and that's fine. You can make it what else you want to be, but I'm not in this so people like me and have fun. I'm trying to do truth and let it fall where it is. And that's why there's a real problem with some of the stuff you're saying. You're going to call a man God because he says call him God? You were off the path in a way that I don't think you'll see. And I don't do this out of hate. I do this because there's a serious concern there, because I saw to an extent where you were and now where you are. I don't hit up every person who talks trash about me. That would take all day. But this was especially egregious because you saw the arrows slung at Mason in a way you were a shield bearer, and you turn around and take that shield and smash it on him. You act like stuff wasn't with us. I never try to say we were best friends. Don't try to exaggerate. Just deal with what I'm saying, man. And I'm saying you contacted me first. We did some stuff together. We had friendly builds a couple times in person. That's all I was saying. And you try to paint, I had this separatist attitude because I knew he was the devil from my way. He got his neck slit and all this. He couldn't hang with the gods and all this. Man, that's how I started in urban apologetics way in high school, was talking to fivers. So I just don't know what you're saying. But here's the thing. Here's why it doesn't affect me, what you say. Because you can use the analogy of vocab's not invited to the cookout. In real life, I'm invited to the cookout. In real life. You could say what you want about internet and you don't know me, but in real life, I get invited to cookout. I don't always go because I'm sort of an introvert, but I'm invited to cookout in real life, bro. So just whatever you want to say is cool, but I don't have to worry about that because I know the truth. And the truth is you're not willing to stand up and defend what you said. This whole conversation you've deflected, and you're talking about it's games. This is serious stuff. I mean, just defend that one thing, brother.
What specifically? What vocab? Say specifically what you want him to defend right
God.
now.
Call another man God because he asks you to. There we go. Call another man God.
All right, I'm mute your vocab. Go ahead, Mohammed.
Said Moses was a god unto Pharaoh. The word used there is Elohim. The word God is used according to your reformers, according to James White, Elohim, because remember, James White doesn't believe that the word Elohim is the same Elohim the way Michael Heiser does.
In 2 Corinthians, that's right.
Elohim refers to rulers and princes and kings. So my thing is being respectful to an individual, thinking beyond language, because I also gave an example of speaking to a Muslim and greeting him in his Arabic language. So yes, once again, I will clarify. If a man tells me that his name is God the Third, then I'm gonna call him God the Third in order for me to communicate with him respectfully. Because one, I understand the dynamics of the language. Two, if you ask any true 5%, or you said you studied the doctrine, fam, ain't no true 5% going to tell you that him calling himself God means the supreme master of the universe. Any 5% will tell you that. So I understand once again that things that you don't, which is the dynamics of engaging these different religions according to the way that they want to be understood in order so that I can present a gospel message to them.
You might understand 5% doctrine a little deeper. If
you can't get past a simple greeting, if you can't get past simple language barriers, then you're not talking to anybody. Simple and plain.
All right. Come on, Vocab. What's your next question, Vocab? Or do you have one towards him to Mohammed? Do you have a question for Vocab?
I have nothing to say to Vocab. I'm here to answer whatever disagreements or grievances that he has between me and him, not me, him, and another man.
Okay, Vocab. You got it. I'm let you go, Vocab.
Yeah, you can check the shows I did on 5% ideology, as well as where I talked to a 5%er on the show live.
Oh, your show?
Yeah, on my show. And several times I mentioned to the audience that they mean it in the sense of they're sovereign over their sphere or in control of their sphere.
That's correct.
And that's part of the problem, is it ends up with moral relativism. So that's not true. Again, the problem is, it's funny. You talked about people looking like Uncle Toms and sellouts. Bro, you look like a sellout calling somebody God. You think Moses would have called Pharaoh God just because he thought he was Amun-Ra manifest? He going to call him God? God's not going to call him God. Part of the reason God went so hard after Pharaoh is because he thought he was God. There's books on this, man. The polemics of what was going on in those plagues. I know you're familiar with this. This is what I'm saying. You're at a level where compromise is the finger is no longer in the dike, man. We're talking about the waters run over the dam. And this interreligious ecumenicism is different than interdenominational, whatever. This is a whole nother level, man. So you can excuse it how you want, but that's one of the other problems I had. And for you to turn around and criticize people because they won't call people God, saying peace back to a Muslim is not the same thing as calling somebody God. And then you went to Hebrew. He's not asking you to call him in Hebrew. I mean, it's just massive confusion here. They're not thinking Council of the Gods. So why would you go to the Heiser stuff? There's just so much confusion here that it's hard to understand how you could really, how can you deal with these false religions when you believe a lot of what they believe? You're in a compromised position intellectually. And so this is some serious issues. You can make it about me, but it's like, where are you out with this? And what would lead you to spew lies about people in public? For another example, you was on there talking about all these dispensationalists, and then at the same breath talking about these folks are Calvinists. You know good well, hardly any of these Reformed brothers and sisters are dispensationalists. The exceptions are MacArthurites. We both know that. Why are you on these platforms talking about they look into the Jews? We're covenant theology. We're kingdom through covenant. We're progressive covenant. We're fulfillment theology. We're new covenant. Why are you mixing and matching your criticism can't be. Well, they're dispensationalists when you know these brothers and sisters ain't dispensationalists. So it's just so much confusion, and you're speaking to an audience who doesn't really know what's going on or is willing to eat up lies. And I'm just trying to understand why you think that's okay. So you're like, what's your motivation? My motivation is to ask, what are you doing? Where is the consideration for truth went in your worldview with this?
This is the second question. This is the second question. This is the second question right here, because he said he didn't have any questions, but he wanted
in regards to the way he was it was real sloppy and real disingenuous. The way he would talk about reform, the Acts 29, and then talk about dispensationalists, never explaining you're talking about two separate groups of people.
Okay.
That was really unfair.
Is that a question or a what? All right, come on, Mohammed.
Oh, yes, good. Okay, so now if you go and analyze both videos that I talked about it, what I specifically said, and I will stand on it once again right now, is that the majority of Christian fundamentalists, evangelicals, are dispensationalists. The majority of evangelicals are not covenant theology. Dr. Eric Mason comes from Dallas Theological Seminary. And I said that Dallas Theological Seminary is the #1 dispensational school of thought of seminaries. Not one time did I say that Pastor Eric Mason was a believer in dispensationalism. Not once. The references every time that I said dispensationalism was in reference to the fact that we live in a culture, a society where the majority of Christians believe that there's a separation between the church and Israel, most by default, because they believe in the rapture and everything else. And that by that default, if there's a separation between the church and Israel and prophetic statements are made about Israel, then in order for you to have prophecies and you're basing it upon a people that's inside of a land, a state since 1948, then my question is, which you can answer, who is Israel? If it's not the people of 1948, who majority of Christians, once again, evangelicals, fundamentalists, are dispensationalists by default. Okay? Who are they? You tell me.
I can't. What vocab? Hold on, vocab. What do you do?
You're questioning the Black Hebrew Israelites. You know what ratio is? I want to know what's the ratio of you questioning Black Hebrew Israelites about their culture in ratio to you questioning European Jews about theirs.
All right, now we getting somewhere. Now Mohammed got a question. I thought you had no questions. Now he's getting somewhere. Jason Brown said, "Shout out to the bishop." Vo, come on, Vo.
Few things.
I can't read that paper. What that paper said?
Yeah, that a few things. DTS is progressive.
Dallas Theological Cemetery. There is DTS, y'all.
They're progressive dispensational. So maybe you're not aware of where things are currently, and you're talking very white America, because globally and historically, the church ain't dispensational. I just don't understand why I don't only focus on the white church in America. Nobody should, but it seems like you do, because if you say dispensational, that's the only thing you can refer to. So it's just a lot of sloppiness. Now, if you want to go back to, I mean, if you can respond to, if you want.
You think the majority? Hold on a second, Mohammed. Give me a second. You think the majority of criticism that you get is because you blow at the cams? I see Pastor Robinson said, do you think the majority of heat that you get in general is because you blow shots at the camp? I see Pastor Isaiah. I just put his shout out to him, try to be respectful of pastors and everybody. We might have had our beef, but whatever. And so I want to put his comment up here. Do you think the majority of problems that you get are because you blow shots at the camp specifically? Or I don't even want to say Israelites in general, because I don't know, you brought up Mr. Dante. You think that's part of the problem because you expose their faulty doctrine, like Isaiah said?
For years, one Westers were standing out in the corners talking about nobody will face us, everybody's afraid of us. And it wasn't just one Wester saying that. The non-one Westers would say that within the halls of their institutions as well. This is
like give me an example. Like what you mean non-one Westers?
So you would hear this kind of braggadocio from Ben Ami, for example, Damon Israel. Those are not one Westers. They originally come out of Southside Chicago.
Okay, like a Pastor Dowell or somebody like I hate to bring up names.
This is a common Hebrew Israelite myth that nobody can touch them. When the reality is they're just flying under the radar, getting the pass. That's the reality of it. The second there's a small quadrant of people who step to them, all of a sudden they turn into the biggest crybabies. They go from warrior to princess in 0.2. Perfect example is Pastor Kelly Richardson and Dante Fortson. Both of these dudes have threatened to sue me multiple times whenever I step to them. Sue me? This is what I'm talking about. Warrior to princess in 0.2 seconds. Just because someone all of a sudden says something. And you said something that was not true, Mohammed. You said, oh, you're going to question their culture. I don't question Hebrew Israelite culture. You never see me saying, take off those fringes. I question the bad doctrine. I question the bad praxis. And here's the thing. If they never would have went into churches in my neighborhood, if they never were out on the corner in my neighborhood, I didn't have to travel. I had to walk. This would have never happened. But they've been doing this for a hot minute. Everybody's afraid of them. They call the cops. Let's not call the cops. Let's deal with these dudes. And the second you do, oh, you're a racist. Let's sue you. This is the most weak ideology ever, and you are helping prop it up. But it's just like God told Israel, don't lean on that stick, Egypt. It's going to break. You can't hold no weight. But that's what you're doing, bro.
Do you think you're racially insensitive? I'm gonna give it to Mohammed now, but that's just something I'm gonna throw out there to you. You brought up Pastor Kelly, Minister Dante. I see you hit me the phone. The E that hit me. They wanted to ask one question. I told them in the beginning before you even jumped on. I wasn't sure if you were taking questions, but you did bring their name up.
I'm insensitive to crybabies. I'm not insensitive to the needs of the community. I'm insensitive to crybabies, though. Those who go from warrior to princess in 0.2 seconds. I'm insensitive to that because they talk tough, and then the second you step to them, we're gonna sue you. Get out of here.
Okay,
man.
All right, come on.
You're riding with these dudes. Come on, man.
Come on. I'm gonna mute you. Let Mohammed talk.
Brother Baran, please. You're giving this dude too many instances to deflect. Every time you interject with us, I know you got good intentions, Baran. But every time you interject, just giving this guy another reason to deflect and to skip over to something else and forget what was previously said.
Go ahead. You got the microphone, bro, Mohammed.
And what I said, I'm going to stand by. When I'm speaking about white supremacy, I'm talking about, that's the whole point. We're talking about a limited system. We're talking about a Christianity that is only 500 years old. That's my whole point. I know the most I'm in the Orthodox faith. So I know that the majority of Christians don't believe in dispensationalism. That's what part of the problem is that we live in a system where most of them do. Point right there. So when you live in a system where the majority believes in the minority doctrine and that it's supreme to every other sphere of doctrine inside that same element, then you have to look at that and see why does these people that they have an inferior doctrine in the sense of majority or people believing in it, why is this the majority for the people of evangelicals, of people that embrace the titles or practice the systems of white supremacy? So what I'm addressing is not global Christianity. Once again, you keep trying to deflect what I'm saying. But let's get back to who the original children of Israel are. And stop telling me that you have never addressed the cultural relevancy of who they are. I've seen you address the cultural relevancy of who they are, who their tribes are, breakdowns, what part of Africa, the whole nine. My point is this: do you put that same energy into the Jewish community? Do you put that same energy into the Messianic Hebrew community of European believers? My point is this: once again, we're talking cultural history, and you feel that you have a superior element on engaging that. My point is this: after someone tells you, if someone comes to me and said, Brother Mohammed, either respectfully or ignorantly, respectfully, let me say, Brother Mohammed, I like the way, I really think you was off about what you said that. I'm going to sit back and be like, well, maybe I could have said that differently, or maybe I could have been wrong. But now if I get 100 people coming at my neck saying, bro, you're wrong about this, it's not this, then I got some thinking to do. Like, hold up. Am I really that arrogant in my response? Am I really coming off to them in such a way that I seem disrespectful? And for you not to get that, I think it's a problem when you're dealing with a cultural people. when you feel like you're not disrespectful.
Mohammed, why the whole
church racist? When you feel like you can talk about slavery and try to backpedal on it and feel like it's okay for you to continue to put oil on the fire instead of stepping back and saying, you know what? This is not my cultural realm. Matter of fact, let me hit up Pastor Eric Mason. Let me hit up Mohammed. Let me hit up this person and have them take the broader aspect of these issues.
All right.
I'm going to stick with these theological issues that got to do with Christianity in general. These cultural issues, it seems to me, as the white guy that may not know everything, that I'm causing more dissension. I'm putting more flame in the fire than anything. And when Black people see that, we see you as a cultural vulture that's causing dissension. You don't get the picture, and it makes us upset. And us being upset doesn't matter if I'm a Hebrew Israelite, a Morris Science Temple, a Muslim, a 5%er, or a Christian. It's because of this.
Now, all right,
it don't matter, bro.
All right, I'm gonna mute you right now, Mohammed. You brought out interesting point, but Mohammed, I do think, I don't think Christians, not just urban apologists, I don't think Christians, Black Christians in America that know vocab think vocab got a beef with Black people. Like I said, when I put that video out there where the whole thing jumped off of James White, and I just knew he was just on with James White 2 days earlier, I threw that thing out there, and LaRon hit me and said, or just posted thing, you know, vocab ain't no racist. And and to be honest, that is the sentiment among Black believers. Black believers out here, outside of the Israelite, I don't know nobody the Black that say vocab is racist or sense any racism whatsoever from him. All right, Mohammed, go. I'm gonna let you go before I give it to him. Go ahead.
Now, I never said that vocab was a racist, but when you do things, say things that come off, that's just like, I don't know if Donald Trump is a racist. I know from Donald Trump being around certain people, but when you say certain things, when you paint a certain picture and the culture is already checking you on that, and you choose not to take that check, but to continue to pour flames on it, then it has people questioning your true motives and your true agenda.
Okay.
So I'm not calling you a straight racist, but I will say you have done some things that has been perceived, rightly so, as being racist, divisive, ignorant of the culture.
All right, vocab, come on. And you said Pastor Kelly, Minister Dante, he wanted to ask you a question too, but I want to give you a chance to speak on that.
It's funny, to me, you talk about, the culture, this and that, going hard and keeping things real and not acting like there's no problem when there is more in line with the values I was around when I was raised and how I was raised. Being all soft, talking behind people's back, that wasn't it. That wasn't a code I knew you were supposed to keep. So you can say however it is, but that's what I saw. I knew that there are people who would say whatever when I was in this, but I'm okay with that. And so really what I heard you just say, Mohammed, is vocab, don't talk about Hebrew Israelites because you might hurt some people's feelings. People being in their feelings is not really my main concern. They can get mad. They can get all kinds of upset. That's not going to change it. And just like I mentioned, every other non-Christian group, when apologists come after them, they always do this. They always do this. And I remember you said, well, originally apologetics was internal. It wasn't about polemics. Brother, have you read Justin Martyr? I thought you had because you referenced him. Dialogue with Trifle the Jew? The brother says, hey, we're the true Israel to Trifle the Jew. He wrote a letter to the emperor. What are you talking about? Just internal. I don't know what you're saying. It's like a total misreading of the history of Christian apologetics. Polemics has always been involved. And nobody told, hey, Augustine, you better keep your mouth shut when you're dealing with this monk Pelagius, because you know he's from Britain and you're from Africa, so you know you don't have a cultural right to speak to him. You better shut up, Augustine, because you can't be speaking to no dude who's in the British Isles. What are you talking about, man? These are universal issues of the church, and that's why a controversy that began in Alexandria, began in Africa, dealing with Arius and all that, ended up having a conference in Turkey, modern day Turkey, of course, Nicaea, mainly bishops from the East, because the church has recognized the universal issues that are important. And so to me, it's all about geography. When I used to live in the East Phoenix, I was dealing with Mormons all the time. And you said, you know, you wouldn't do this with Muslims. Brother, I stood outside mosque and give these men and women Gospels of John in Arabic. This is very similar to what Paul and them did when they would go into the synagogue and use that open time that the Jews would allow to say Jesus fulfills these messianic prophecies. They knew that wasn't going to be accepted. They knew that wasn't, but they also knew that God would have his elect and some people would listen. So all the slings and the arrows, it's just not going to do nothing. I'll answer any question, whatever you're trying to talk about, but you have literally bought into the lie wholesale. And if you want to, what lie,
vocab?
The lie that anybody who contradicts some of these egregious doctrines has to have certain sort of credentials. It's funny because he goes against the idea of credentials, and yet he is saying you got to have the proper cultural credentials. Yet you don't know who everyone is. You know, you don't know what's going on. The question is really a veracity, not ethnicity. And you can change it, make it however it is. But I think at the end, it proves. Short, weird story from old school hip hop. MC Search, very mediocre rapper. He's overrated, but nonetheless, used to go all the time to the hood, play basketball, and rap with the dudes. And they would beat him up every time they saw him. And he would come back around and get beat up again. And they said, man, this white boy's searching. So they call him MC Search because he kept on coming around. And eventually he got respect because of that. That's what I'm saying. There's a long-term issue here. And we'll see who's really about it and who's not, about who ducks out, who sticks around. All right, I don't know what the Lord has, but I don't plan on ducking around it. So complaining about my presence is only going to get people so far. The real question is, what are the issues on the table? That's what I'm saying.
I want to talk about the issues on the table. I want to bring out one thing. You spoke about the pastor, you know, the other brothers say they want to sue you and this and that. They got a question for you too. They're going to be respectful. I'm going to bring them on. But I want to say one thing. Now that you look back, do you think, I want to go back to the whole J producer thing and the slavery in the U.S. So people was offended because of that. I was offended behind that. Do you think you could have done that different? You know, you think people just didn't get it, or people were just looking for any type of beef? Go ahead.
Yeah, that's a good question, a fair question. I was blindsided by it because I didn't think anybody would think I was talking about antebellum slavery. Because when I heard people say that, I was sitting there thinking, what exactly would the joke be in antebellum slavery? I didn't understand how someone could get that out of it, because I had already talked to some people in the community about this parody idea already, and it was literally based upon a line. So here's what I would have done different. I would have played the video clip of the inspiration. And if you notice in the final parody, and again, Mohammed is going along with Dante's narrative, and he's not a truth teller, Dante, that is. If you about the song, if you listen to the final song, this is to everybody. I really ask you to do this, regardless of your opinion about me. Just try to be fair and honest. If you listen to the song, an ISUPK DC member literally says, "Slavery is coming to America, man." That's the first line. That was the whole inspiration for the song. And if you notice, that's why the final title was Party of the UPK, because it's a UPK guy who said it. So I was blindsided that an ISUPK guy was one of the main people to try to say, oh, this must be about antebellum slavery. Because I was sitting there thinking, what would the joke be about antebellum slavery? And what kind of person would think there's something, what urban apologists think, hey, this is a great way to, let's make something funny about antebellum slavery. What? I didn't even, so I was blindsided. So what I would have done, Brother Brian, is I would have played the clip and say, hey, listen, here's this clip, this video clip that ended up in the final song. So you can see exactly what I'm talking about. You can see it's not the side of my neck. All this exists. I would have played the clip and said, this gives me an idea. Let's make this song. That's what I would have done. And so that's all I'm asking people, is to be honest about it and just hear it out and listen to what I'm saying. Because if you were in UPK, Mohammed, you know that's what they would say and teach. So, it's,
Mohammed, all right, Mohammed, I'm going to let, because you said Mr. Dante I'm going to let Mr. Dante address the suit or whatever he want to address. But come on, Mohammed, before you We're gonna keep it respectful. Go ahead.
All right. The first thing I want to address is Vocab has set himself.
I'm sorry. All right, go ahead, brother.
Vocab set himself up for failure. Now he started off lying, saying that I call Cherry Love a closet lesbian. I want you guys to go watch that video beginning to end. How many times the words closet lesbian came out of my mouth? I guarantee you it is 0 times. That's a lie that they're pushing. Number 2, he didn't have anything to say when G-Con and Cherry Love were calling me Dante Foreskins. He was cool with that. He ain't got nothing to say about that. He didn't have nothing to say
about all of this.
Right. Cherry has a title up right now on her video, one of the last few videos she did. He didn't have nothing to say when Faithful to God was making inappropriate sexual comments towards Sister E. Now he claimed he's correcting people's bad doctrine. Tell me what part of writing a slavery parody is correcting bad doctrine. Now, you could try to explain that away if you want to, but the fact is your your video came after. You were trying to do damage control because we all heard you tell Jay the producer you couldn't sing it. You needed him to do it. And he tried to get you off camera to save you. Number 2 or 3, whatever number I'm on. You say it's about correcting bad doctrine. How is pouring camel pee in a black man's mouth correcting any bad doctrine? How is showing us with an upside down Torah correcting bad doctrine? How is putting black men in handcuffs correcting that? How is calling us coons correcting that? You have us blowing up on camera for white entertainment. So over and over again, we see these racist shots. You even started, what'd you say? Russians don't have a soul? Every single time somebody says on with something, the fact is you don't care that it's racist because you're not us. You're not part of the community. You are a culture vulture. And all you do is lie. You lie, 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 lie. This is why Pastor Kelly said he was going to sue you because you lie. This is why I said it, because you lie and you constantly lie. And then you come out and say, no, wait, this is not what it looks like. We have you on video with the Muslim stuff. Oh, it's not what it looks like. Oh, I poured camel pee in a black man's mouth. It's not what it looks like. Then James White calls Eric Mason a racist. You ride with him. Why are you not defending Eric Mason from these white boys? Jeff Durbin said the whole woke church. He's talking about black people. The whole woke church are sluts and whores that spread their legs for everybody that passes by. He called Eric Mason a pimp, but you want to come over here and address Muhammad because he gave an example of addressing somebody respectfully by what they want to be called. The whole time you've deflected. You haven't answered a single question from Muhammad. All you've done is deflect. Please be clear. Do you agree with Jeff Durbin that the woke church is a whore and a slut that opens its legs for everybody that passes by? Do you agree with Jeff Durbin that Eric Mason is a pimp? Make that 100% clear who you riding with, Jeff Durbin or Eric Mason, because they are calling Eric Mason a racist. The same thing you've done to Israel. They are saying. Go ahead.
Hold on. All right. I'm gonna mute him now. That's fair to what you go. And he's bringing up Dr. E because he was already brought up. So go ahead, Vocab. I'm sorry. I thought I muted you. I didn't even mean to let him go like that already. I'm sorry, Mohammed, but go ahead. Don't hold your spot. Remember, you're gonna answer him, Vocab. Go ahead, man, Mohammed.
So, and this is what I'm trying to say. Like Dante, I mean, that as Dante touched on about him deflecting and trying to and lying, trying to create another narrative. When I address you specifically about dialogue and respectfully with Muslims, you just gave the response that yes, I'm out there speaking Arabic, the Gospel of John. That's not what I said. I said, are you outside in the hood talking, dressing disrespectfully like you a Muslim doing Islamic parodies? Are you doing Islamic parodies outside these mosques? Because I don't know any mosque where I'm from is going to allow you to come stand in front of their door doing Islamic parodies. Okay, I just don't know that. Second thing is, when you address slavery, this is what most of my white friends I know would do. If I'm like, yo, bro, I'm disrespected by what you're saying about slavery, they're not going to be like, oh, that's not what I was trying to say. And what I'm going to do, instead of seeing what you're trying to say and stepping back, I'm going to throw more fire on it, and I'm going to create a song about it, and I'm going to have y'all even more fired up about it. That's what you do, Vocab.
All right.
When people told you that it was wrong about slavery, as a white dude, you should have been like, well, hold up. I can see what they're talking about. Let me fall back. No, you don't do that. You say, hold up. I'm going to play into this whole thing, and I'm going to make it even worse, and I'm going to create a song about it, and I'm going to get them even more riled up. Now, think about it. Are we supposed to look at you now as being somebody that's being deceptive, a deceiver and racist? Or are we supposed to looking at you now? Well, he made a dumb mistake.
Move, yeah.
You get him? That's not what we got.
All right, I'm gonna mute you, Mohammed. I'm gonna give it to vocab. Vocab specifically on what Minister Dante said with the energy level for James White and them. And you know, you're coming on here defending Dr. E, and will you defend them in front of them European evangelicals the same way? Or I'm just rephrasing it, but I'm gonna give you the microphone to address to start from there, if you don't mind, guys.
Yeah, Dante, if you didn't say or imply that about Cherry, I'm just wondering why several times you referred to her as Sister Cherry LGBTQ.
I didn't even know. I don't even listen to her. I didn't even know all of this was going on, and that. But I did. You telling me about foreskin, and I asked her. That's another. Like I said, that's part of the zoo. There,
I never did that one. My name for Dante is Dante 400 years. It has to do with his false prophecy that made him say he's going to run to Robert Shapiro. So my question is, why did you call her Cherry LGBTQ love if you're not
because she is subscribed to LGBTQ channels, as I pointed out, and she admitted to, if you go back, she said, yes, I am.
Hold on.
Let me tell everybody how this dude's a liar. Not only is a false prophet, false teacher, because Cherry has children, which is none of your business, by the way, but her children, who I met in the south side of Chicago, she lives right down the street from Farrakhan's restaurant. Her children were watching some content producers on YouTube, and she wanted to check it out to see if it was cool for them to watch or not. So she subscribes to the channel to see the content. Her conclusion was, this is not acceptable material for my children. So that is why she would subscribe to that channel, to check her child's viewing habits like a good mother should. And you dare to say that about her? You should be absolutely ashamed of yourself. She's married. She's doing what she can where she is. She's hospitable. She's loving. It's just disgusting that you would do that. And you're going to act like you building up the community with that kind of talk. Now, let me answer the rest of this dude's questions. Why did I ask Brother Jay to sing it? Because I can't sing. I'm not Dean Martin. I'm not Frank Sinatra. The reason why I asked Brother Jay to sing it is because Brother Jay can sing. So that's why. And then when we go to how is you going against camel doctrine when you have a parody where you're pouring down camel pee, which of course is apple juice, down John McCrae's throat? Because it's a bad idea for people to drink camel pee. And so the parody is showing why Islam is bad. It's bad for the black community. It's bad for every other type of community. And it's bad for your health, because drinking camel pee, despite what Muslim apologists say, is not a good thing. And the parody is showing that. And if you had your blinders off, you'd realize, hey, man, we shouldn't really want to have people drink camel pee. I'm glad this is there, because I didn't know that. Now, you said, well, you have people being blowed up and all this. Well, if you paid attention, we also have people, the main people that we deal with in the Boom Boom Room are white folks. We blow up. We have a KKK episode. We have all kinds of episodes. So it's not like we're going around and this is what's happening. Why did we have the Torah upside down though in the Hebrew Israelite episode, which was not my idea? It was my man Operation Apologetics idea, which I thought was a good idea. And the reason is it's to show Hebrew Israelites might as well be reading the Bible upside down. It doesn't have to do with being illiterate. It has to do with the way they interpret the scriptures. It's literally upside down. That's kind of an easy concept. That's why. But because you can't deal with me on a factual level, you have to paint this narrative. Notice, Dante Fortson's strongest weapon is to not to counteract anyone's arguments, especially mine. It's to cry, racist, racist. Never wants to deal with the facts. It shows where his strongest weapon is and his weakest weapon. And his weakest weapon is the facts. Now, why on Private Eye for Yahushai did the character say, well, then call them a cood? Here's the reason why. If you notice, the call goes, first he says, well, call him an Edomite, call him a cracker. The reason why he says that is because that's what Hebrew Israelites do. When you step to them, they call you some kind of racial slur. Often they call you something dealing with your sexual preferences. If you're not that persuasion, then they call you a sellout. And that's why I use that word. It's playing off literally what the Hebrew Israelites do. But apparently
that's camps. That's more so camp.
No. Because Dante does the same thing, albeit talking slower and slicker, but he literally does the same thing as the camps. He's just not on a corner. He's on a mouse pad. He does the same thing. Right, now, why the handcuffs? It's to show that Hebrew Israelite doctrine enslaves you. And guess what? That was John McCrae's idea, not mine. Ask him. Lastly, James White and Jeff Durbin, I don't have access to those platforms anymore. At the time I did, the discussions were had. I don't have access to those platforms anymore, and it's been a long time since I have. So let's see what Dante's going to say, because I know it's going to be a very emotional response because somebody's in their feelings.
Come on, Dante.
All right. have access to these platforms. He could get on his own platform and speak out against them, just like he speaks out against Israelites. He chooses not to speak against these Europeans. They attacked Eric Mason by name. They attacked the entire woke church by name. Vocab ain't gonna get out there and do nothing. Vocab still has not addressed whether or not he agrees with Jeff Durbin or James White in their statements about Eric Mason and woke church. He keeps trying to deflect. He says Cherry Love is loving, even though that she would slap Sister E's head off her shoulders. She said she would grab Sister E by the back of her head. She's said all kind of violent things. She's lied.
Because I don't hear. I hope all of this stuff isn't true. But go ahead.
She gave 3 to 4 different answers in her response. She did a 4-hour, 15-minute video. I did talking about subscribe. Then she said investigating it. Then she said she likes the show. So both can give one answer to 3 or 4.
Is she breaking up or is it me?
Hey Dante, I think you're breaking up.
Can you hear me?
She keep trying to talk.
All right. So she gave multiple answers herself. Vocab keeps trying to speak for everybody but himself. Let's address you calling us coons. You feeling comfortable enough to call us coons. You don't have the right to come in our culture and take stuff from our culture, stuff that is sensitive to the black community, us coons, and then act like you're trying to lead us to Christ, because that's not leading anybody to Christ. If you're in the chat room right now, Vocab calling you a coon led you to Christ, no. If Vocab pouring that camel pee in somebody's mouth made you say, you know what, I shouldn't be a Muslim. Most people aren't going to drink camel pee. Like, he's just being a racist. And that's why he's not going to speak up and specifically say Jeff Durbin is wrong. The woke church is not a whore. Eric Mason is not a pimp. Call Jeff Durbin a liar if he's a liar. If he's not a liar, make that clear that you riding with him and Pastor Mason is all those things. But what Vocab is going to do is Vocab is going to deflect. He's going to change the subject. He's going to talk about everything but, because he's too afraid of them Europeans and say they're lying, or he's too afraid to side with them. Pick a side, Vocab.
All right, I got it. Vocab, we got to give you the microphone on that right there. You heard what he said, right? Do you feel you have to pick a side? You don't have to pick a side. Is Jeff Durbin wrong? Is what's the other statement? Matter of fact, I'm throwing my own stuff in there with James White and him comparing the KKK to. Come on, Vocab, address what he just said. Yeah. Hold on, no, hold, Pastor. We got a whole. Pastor Kelly got to hold on a good 5-10 minutes. I want to hear you address what Minister Dante just said. I'm sorry about the whole thing, Sister Cherry, co-laborer. It's just a lot going on. I didn't know about all of this stuff, but it's been mudslinging back and forth. We all got to do better. I'll stop calling the preachers and the teachers in the kingdom of God my co-laborers clowns, and let me start there. Oh, no, hold on, Mohammed. I don't want Vocab deflecting on this one. We want Vocab to get it in. Come on, Vocab, specifically Minister Dante. Thank y'all so much. We appreciate y'all in the super chat. I'm going to unmute him. Vocab, you got the floor. We want to hear.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that the legal brigade had to join this, because now I can't really speak about the issues Mohammed and I had. But nonetheless, here we are.
The legal brigade, is that
shot? They threatened to sue everybody who steps to them. Because they threatened to sue everybody.
Hold on, Pastor.
We're looking into it right now.
Sorry, no disrespect, Pastor. I got to let you. No, go ahead.
So, nonetheless, it is what it is. I already mentioned, I guess he didn't hear it, that the sermon was very problematic because of the issue of generalization. What it does is lump everybody.
When you hear woke church, what do you think? When you hear woke
church? That's the problem. This is what I said earlier. It has the listeners filling in the blanks in their mind. And it's very unfair to put Eric Mason in the same box as some hardcore progressive or something like that, or put someone like Isaiah Robertson in the same box is Carlton Pearson. That's very unfair, and that's kind of what happens in the listener's mind if you say this woke church and that's not right. That's a generalization, and then the reason why it's especially problematic is because if you know you're going to make such a strong condemnation, as obviously that was pre-planned, he knew what he's going to say. You got to be careful, man. You can't. So it was unfair. Now, I know Jeff from the past, not really now, and I know James White to a lesser extent from the past. I think I understand Jeff better than James White, so I think I have some sense of the motivation. Nonetheless, it doesn't excuse the sloppy generalization. So The short answer is that was a massive generalization, was unfair, and ended up being incorrect. I don't understand. What are people saying I'm not answering? I literally said it's problematic. It's a generalization. It wasn't. It was sloppy. What am I not answering? I'm answering about the sermon. What are people saying I'm not answering? I don't understand. Help me out here.
You think the camps are on the same level as the KKK in America?
Well, no one asked that, but no.
Okay. All right.
No. Hebrew Israelites aren't burning crosses in people's yards. They never had judges, and the guy with the hood is some judge that's sentencing people. That's not even a thing. That's the problem is this total historical myopia, not even of a global Christianity, just of American situations. And that's why, like Jamar Tisby's book, Color of Compromise, don't have to agree with every word. That should be almost required reading for people before they kind of get into a lot of these issues. That's a very helpful thing for people to really understand what happened. And it's so absent. So it's incredibly problematic. I'm not deflecting. I'm literally answering the question directly. So any question you want to ask me about them, go ahead. Here I am. What am I deflecting on?
All right. Anybody y'all heard any questions? Come on, Pastor Kelly. Your name came up too.
Yeah, and I just want to
a question for vocab specifically. You got?
Yeah, and I'm going to get to it but I just want to clear something up here because I was called a name, and I'm not. I don't believe in name calling. I stay clear from those things. And in vocab, you could go through my profile. You could go through all this. I keep away from name calling. I make it a point to stay on the caution of the era of truth. Put it that way. I'm very conscientious, and those that know me will make it clear. But the where I'm offended at is, number one, when you call me, I guess, the legal brigade or whatever the case may be. Let's be truthful about how that whole thing happened. I was dealing with a situation. You guys already know and I don't want to bring them in here, but I was dealing with a situation where, as though my wife and my entire family got threatened, literally, publicly, right? So I'm dealing with this situation. Then all of a sudden, a video drop, right? Not by you, it's by what's his name, one of the guys that's with you, right? But I'm like, wait a minute. If you had this is dealing with my family heritage. Literally, my great uncle pastored the church down in Savannah. But make it long story short, a video drops with me in the video. I'm like, wait a minute, you know what I mean? Why? What? He could have at least came to me and talked to me and asked me clarity. But then it went from that to now the video goes from that platform to your platform, right? I just made a simple post on my my Facebook page, which you responded to, and I just blocked it because when people know, and I'm very real, you're not the first person that would say I will block you in a heartbeat. I just block it because I am a pastor and I don't like to have a lot of, I don't like to have negativity going all on my page. I try to stay above that. But what you said on here, even one of the comments that you said about Tazamore, that he's coming to two Hebrew Israelites and they're going to turn on you, right? I'm not sure if you know the history between me and Bishop Mason and Damon Richardson. Well before you, and Brother Barine would tell you, I've kept silent even when my name was being raked through the mud. I always honored and kept Bishop Mason to a high standard, Damon Richardson as well. Me and Pastor Majors, we drove from Virginia to Philadelphia with the invitation by Tazamore with the hopes of what? Bridging the gap, trying to build. We drove there. We did not. And Tazamore tell you, was very respectful. We sat in on the classes, everything. So I'm not sure where this is coming from with the name calling. But when you say legal brigade, what I said in that video, because of and I make it clear, I said what these guys don't understand is that they could be tapping in. I mean, they could be tapping into slander, and I will go to court if someone slanders me. I didn't just come straight out and say, I'll take you to court. No, I said this can be considered slander when you take something and you run with it. But let's go a little further with that, right?
You said I named myself after a gangster.
Now,
hold on, hold on, okay.
Let me
go ahead.
Right
Pastor.
now, and I'll explain that in a second here, but let's go back to here. So it went to that point right there, right? To where as though you guys started doing, you guys did videos about me, and I took I just brushed it aside because I was dealing with something, and even then I was dealing with something. Now, fast forward, right? You know, this right here, you threw me up. I got thrown into a discussion that I didn't anticipate on being thrown into. So here I am. I'm in the midst of a discussion. But what you insulted me, and I answered that question about the Malone thing because I was giving history of the name Malone, which you know that if you do the history of it, you'll see that that term Malone, what I was making reference to, that Malone, you heard Bugsy Malone or Bugsy Siegel, that is a Jewish name. That from a Jewish gangster. But nevertheless, getting back over to here, with the whole discussion being taken, with what you said that we're going to throw him under the bus. If you go back on my channel, you will see that I defended Bishop Mason. All of them would tell you here. Am I right, Brother Barine? I defended Bishop Mason, and I said, even if I have to be the only one to defend him, I defended him because of what was transpiring. You know, I pivoted away from you guys because I didn't want to get sucked into that whole thing. So with that being said, my question, because you hear people saying that they were offended by some of the things that you had done in your videos, because it deals with a lot of Black exploitation. You know, when you start doing the connections and the you know, there's not one time that you said, well, you know what? I empathize with what they're saying. And you know what? Maybe I could have done something differently. You know, that's not one time have I heard you take accountability for any of that. You name this person, that person, this person, that person. Overall, I've seen your parodies. I've seen your parodies. I've seen the parodies that you've done with the camel, the whatever. The biggest thing that I think you're missing about all of that is the how the Negro, how the Blacks are being presented in your videos. You know, with the brother man laying on the ground and you pouring camel pee in his mouth. The Blacks on the Hebrew Israelites going against the Muslims, illiterate, to knock upside down, those type of things. So, all
right, hold on, Pastor. I want to help with the parodies and all of that, because Muhammad, a lot of what Vocab do is switching even in Islam with that direction. Jay just hit me. I want to bring him on because that first parody that kind of had people a little offended, and I tell you, I made a video and we never really even spoke and all that. Then I get to riding with some people and I get to blocking some folk, and as opposed to dealing with stuff, I just dead somebody. Even if I consider my brother, I'm just gonna dead him. I ain't got no time for all that extra stuff. And Jay just hit me. You know, and a lot of stuff, you know, disagreements and stuff came about these parodies and all of this other stuff. And Jay wanted to just share something. So I want to give him the microphone to say, if anybody's been following for any time, it's 500 people in here, y'all. It's a lot been going on. It's a lot of people from all sides of the fence in here right now. So we got to make sure, I just want people to hear it from the horse's mouth, whatever's going to jump off, you know, whatever's going to jump off later on, whoever's going to make videos later on, whoever's going to be disrespectful later on, at least we're here talking, you know, at whatever price it's going to come to. At least we all here on talking. Come on, Jay.
Yo, what's going on? Everybody on the panel, man. I appreciate the link, Brother Reed.
Blessings, Brother Jay.
What's going on? Peace, everybody. So basically, I wanted to address because it keeps coming up. I know it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. I actually had when everything first got, you know, I'll say went off the rails after the parody came out. I don't know how many people seen it, but you know, I did a show on my channel. I also went on. I called into UPK's radio station and tried to address it there because there was a lot of misconceptions about it. People thinking that me and Vocab was picking on, you know, the transatlantic slave trade. And even though we made it, you know, very clear that it had nothing to do with the transatlantic slave trade, it was all built around the actual slave doctrine in which the camps, One West specifically, teaches. So everything in the song was true. But I went on the call into the shows to talk to these guys One, to clear up that confusion about it so that people know we were not talking about the transatlantic slave trade. We weren't picking on the, the evils that took place during that time. We was definitely talking about the doctrine that I had learned while in the movement and that these guys push. So that wasn't a lie. But what I do want to address and why, I wanted to come on here to address it again is to say the same thing I said back then. I had the video on my channel, but I took it off. If anybody went on my channel, I took it off. I called the UPK radio station, and I did it as well on my channel. I gave a public apology to those in the Black Hebrew Israelite community, and even some Christians that were rubbed the wrong way with it. I was convicted about it only because of this reason, and this reason only why I don't do parodies now, is that when we're talking about being ministers, of the gospel, one of the principles that we're supposed to live by is to live to not give an offense, like as the apostle says, to the Jews, to the Greeks, neither to the church of God. At that time, that was something I did that, I was convicted about. I was in the movement. I knew the message was true, but how it came off it messed a lot of people the wrong way. And so my main goal, being a former member of the movement, is to win brothers and sisters out of it to Christ. And if doing something like that, even if I say it was fun and games or whatever the case is, but if it's going to rub them the wrong way, then it's best I abstain from doing stuff like that. And so that's why I took it off my channel. That's why, I don't share it or anything like that. That's why I don't do parodies no more now, because of that type of thing. So I wanted to come on here. That's why I asked for the link. One, to give, re-say it again, but, for those in the movement that was, or anybody in or out of the movement, if you was, offended by the parody video, I personally apologize for it. I did the singing on it. I did, help with the song arrangement and stuff like that. I did have my hand in it. So every time it plays, I'll tell you straight up, every time I see people share it till this day, I cringe. I cringe every time. So even though I got my own gripes with a lot of, things that's going on right now, whether we're talking about the political system, woke this or whatever the case is, this matter right here, because it keeps coming up, I wanted to make sure it was clear. I saw how many people in here. Hopefully it's the last time I have to do it. If not, I'll do it again. It doesn't really matter to me. But so that's why I wanted to come on here, just really talk about that. If anybody had anything from me, I'll answer it right now. Or else I'll just, get the mic up and let y'all continue on.
All right, I'm gonna let you hold on for a second in case somebody got any questions. And even me, hold on, Pastor, I'm sorry. Even me, but I'm ignorant the way I handle stuff. I'm seeing comments come up, which is the cherry, and we were all out here trying to share our different beliefs, and people wanted to defend the faith and everything. And a lot of us, let me speak for myself, might have handled people wrong, handled situations wrong, even in our conduct and our speech. So above all of the books, above all of the knowledge, above all of the, who got what, how many subscribers, above all of that, I want to personally apologize for some of my behavior, and I think hopefully we can go somewhere from all of this stuff. We so 500 people in here, so many of us believe on the Lord. We have different views, different things, and we're going to stand for what many believe to be orthodoxy, many don't. And like EJ even said, woke this, woke that, it's a lot of stuff that's going on in the midst of this racial tension, all of this stuff in the country. We got to try to do better if we say we all worship God, if we all say we have some reverence for God and the book in any way. Hold on, I'm gonna let Pastor. Hold on, Mohammed. I'm gonna give it back to Pastor Kelly because he didn't finish. I'm gonna let you say something, and I'm gonna see because Vocab heard a bunch in the midst of all of this stuff. Yeah. Come on, Pastor.
And I appreciate Brother Jay for
yes, I do too.
Apology, because that just to even be able to admit that publicly, that says a lot. So I appreciate you, Brother Jay, for what for what you're doing and what you've done with that. My gripe, as I mentioned, is how I got brought into the narrative about a video that was made about me. Instead of just calling me up and asking questions, it went from all of a sudden I am making up Hebrew and all this other stuff, where I could have easily posted videos of the people, far as the and I'm not trying to bring that into the discussion, but I got videos of being down at the place, and I could give you better historical contents of that. But it went from I can't read what's on the pews. Which
you're talking about the pew? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. But see, my great uncle, Pastor James Wesley Carr. See, I'm connected to this. Not me just saying that. Hey, I just came across some information. This is my family information. So with that, all of a sudden, I'm thrown inside. You know, two videos was made of me. One with whatever the guy name is. I can't think of his name. Faithful to God. Then all of a sudden, then with Vocab present, the video being on his thing, and I'm being brought in the middle of that. But prior to that, and I'll say this again, Brother Beran, you could confirm this, and Brother Tazimore will tell you this. I've always made it a point to take the high road, even with me having proof that certain things wasn't a certain way. I always made it a point to keep my mouth shut, because I got a ministry. I have a ministry that we've been in ministry for 11 years. I didn't come on here to call names or anything like that. I came on here to give clarity, because what you just said to Brother Tazimore, because really the discussion was between you two, but then other names began to be brought in, and my name got brought in. This is a discussion between you guys. If you're handling something between you guys, why did you have to bring Dante up? Why did you have to bring me up? And you called names. And as you know, I haven't called you a name. I'm being very respectful. My tone is very respectful. And even with people expressing how offended they have been with your parodies, instead of taking the approach that Brother Jay took, you are passing the buck to everyone else. And instead of saying, you know what, guys, I didn't even think about it that way. I've had to do that a number of times, and I don't have a problem with doing that. So again, this, for me, the way that this is being presented right here, how did it go from you and Muhammad having a discussion
to other names? Yes.
Everything else is being pulled into this, which is a deflection. It is a straight deflection. Because what you said to Muhammad about how we're going to leave him hung and dry, what you won't know is that I prayed with Muhammad a number of times when he was going through the height of the situation. I never even talked about you guys. We actually kept the conversation on where he was and how he was feeling and what was going on. And I'm just going to leave it at that. Pray with him several times, doing the very thing that you guys should be teaching about the scriptures.
We all should be, yes.
We all should be doing that.
Yeah, give it all to us.
You used some generalized terms when you came in about what you said about what we're going to do, but you're actually doing the things that you're accusing us of doing. Yeah, you're name calling. There's no type of tone in your voice that you're trying to rectify whatever issues that many may have. If you even say you have an issue with me, I have no problem to say, hey, you know what? I didn't know it offended you that way. Hey, let's water under the bridge. My apologies. But that's not what's going on right here in this discussion. This discussion was between you and Tazimore, but you called Dante a name, you called me a name. You calling other people. Keep the conversation between you two. Handle what he has to say. Yeah, if you're going to talk about what people are doing, I want to see you take the same fire at James White, and I wanted you to take the same fire at Durbin, because those were very offensive things. If we would have done that, guess what? There'd be videos all over the place. But I don't hear anyone coming to Bishop Mason's defense. I went to some of you guys' platform to see if you guys was going to defend him. You didn't do a video. Nefertiti didn't do a video. Brother Beran didn't do a video. But Dante, the very person that you just insulted, took the side of defending Bishop Mason, and I took the side of defending Bishop Mason in spite of what was going on. I said, hey, regardless, this is wrong. And you could go on the We Woke channel and you'll see that I dealt with that situation. I pivot from this whole thing. I've been teaching. That's all I've been doing. You could go and see it on my video. But because of this situation, now I'm pulled back in here. Have your dialogue with Tazimore. Deal with Tazimore before you start bringing everyone else in. Deal with his questions. Deal with him one-on-one. That's what I want to see. But all of a sudden, you throw my name up in there.
All right. Thank you, Dante. Thank you, Pastor. The pastor brought out an excellent point. I'm gonna let Muhammad go. Vocab, you heard a lot, and I'm looking at some of the comments. Jay just came in here, and that even, like I said, that even touched my heart, because y'all know I'm just on the block button crazy, and I'm just ill with it. I'm just different. But But I gotta say, Jay came in here and so many people, I'm just looking at the comments and they're trying to act like Jay's response to it and your response to it may be a little different. And I see some of that coming up. So I'm hoping the vocab can address it. But before I give vocab to Mike Mohammed, you come on, brother. Don't go nowhere.
First,
I'm sorry.
Respect to brother Jay. I definitely applaud you for doing that. And to me, I think that's part of the dynamic of why we're here even talking to vocab in the first place. So I would like to give you a good shout out for that, because it shows the sensitivity and the discernment you had to make about an issue that is a very emotional problem in the Black community. And for that problem not to be addressed or simply stepped back upon by vocab, it just showed that he was throwing fire onto the flame. And I want to make one observation, and then I got to ask vocab a question. The observation is this. Look at the conversations that I've had in the past 2 days on Dante's platform, and on Brother Brian's platform. I've talked to, on that platform, we had Sister E, we had Pastor Kelly, we had Dante, we had Pastor Major, and we had Brother Ron Shields and Berin. These are all individuals that believe in Christ. They believe in different theological dispositions on Christ, but our energy was different. Look at the energy that's there now while you're here. I think you really need to reflect on that. What energy, vocab, are you bringing to the table of an emotional, cultural people that are dealing with issues? Part of these brothers being Hebrew Israelites, for some, it's a self-esteem issue, not in a negative sense, but most of us don't know who we are. And they're coming into enlightenment of who they are. And my question, because I don't want it to be deflected, so please don't nobody interrupt vocab.
No, you're Pastor Kelly
said I'm do your thing.
Y'all gonna talk.
Get the questions, but I got one simple question for you, vocab, but you keep deflecting, and we already an hour and 55 minutes in. Are the European Jews the children of Israel? And if they are not the children of Israel, who do you see as the biblical descendants?
You're gonna let them start the other part first now, right? I'm mute everybody. Vocab, you got the floor.
I just did a debate on that question. European Jews who do not accept Christ are not sons of Abraham, according to Galatians. Neither is a Yemenite Jew, a Sephardic Jew, Ethiopian Jew, whoever they are. They reject Jesus as Messiah. They are no longer Israel in a proper sense, according to Romans 9-11, because not all who are Israel are Israel. I just did a debate on this Sunday night. The question on the floor was, is the multinational church the fulfillment of national Israel? So I don't know why so many Hebrew Israelites and those sympathetic to them are obsessed with European Jews. First of all, that's not all modern Jewry. I'm not obsessed with them, but I do know if you reject Messiah, your sins are not paid for. Chickens and goats and prayers aren't going to cut it. There's one mediator between God and man. So that's the answer to that question. I am a covenantal fulfillment guy. So I don't hold that God's people are descended based upon some seed, because Abraham's seed, biblically speaking, in the new covenant, are those who are Christ's. That is the position. That's why it's not as important to me as it is to those people who do think it's all about seed, because I understand the new covenant. And so it's not an issue of obsession for me. That's very simple. Now, it's strange. I don't know why that question is deemed so relevant, but that's the answer to that. Now, on to Pastor Kelly. My name is Mal1 because I used to be a tagger. I used to tag Mal1, which is Malone. It's not because I named myself after a gangster. Maybe you should take that video down because you lied about me. Dante Forza said I was secretly Arabic.
Well, you still bringing up the other names. He said he'll be willing to take it down. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Let's all right, go on.
I appreciate that. I hope he can keep his mic on specifically.
Pastor Kelly? Okay.
When you made that video, with this video of me before we'd ever met or talked, when you're in your car with your jacket and your seatbelt on, there's a whole video about dissing me. It was supposed to be about some other stuff, but you basically ended up just talking about my Calvinism. Did you call me up before you did that?
Just repeat that again. I didn't hear
that video you made where you're in the car. This is the first time I ever heard of you. You're in the car. You got your seatbelt on and a jacket. It seems like it was fall. And you did a whole like 12, 13 so video, Facebook Live video about me, where you basically just dissed my belief in Reformed theology the whole time. Did you call me up before you made that video against me? This is like 2 years ago.
You remember the video?
Actually, yeah. That video actually wasn't just me that made a video, but I know what you're talking about. When I was in the car,
you in the car, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and what I said was because actually I think you had made a video or something that was a discussion with, and you mentioned divine process. You mentioned a couple other Hebrew Israelites.
Didn't mention you though, brother.
No, but what I'm saying is, can I answer your question?
I'm just saying. I'm saying you said I should have called somebody, but you didn't do the same thing.
Can I answer your question?
Let him go. Yeah, go ahead, Pastor. Go ahead.
So, if you go back to the video, what I said, and I could bring the video up. I'll find the video and we'll give clarity on exactly what I said. I didn't disrespect you personally, right? What I said was, regardless of our differences of doctrine, that's the thing I highlighted, whether among the Hebrew Israelites, regardless, we're going to stick together. Regardless, if you don't believe, if I have a brother that's a Muslim, whatever the case may be, we still going to stick together. I'm not going to throw my brothers under the bus. And guess what? I held true to that, even with Bishop Mason, the situation with Bishop Mason. So I didn't call you names. I didn't, but what I said in that video was that, hey, you know what? We're going to stick together, regardless of the differences of doctrine. That's what I said in that video. Now, what this video that came out about me, it said he can't read Hebrew. That was on the actual initial video, the actual cover. I mean, whatever, what you want to call it, the thumbnail saying he can't read Hebrew. I never insulted you on saying you don't know this and you don't know that. It said he can't read Hebrew, and it pointed to that right there, to the pews. That again, that's personal to me, but it pointed to the pews, and it's like, hey, I never said that I could read those what's on the pews. I never said that, never said that, no, I've never said that, and that's a fact. I've never said that. Not a single video that said that I could read what's on the pews. I've never said that. Now, what's been handed down to me through my family and also to the people that was there, what you don't have is the older videos with even the people down there classifying it as cursive Hebrew, right? If you look at the old websites, I have screen prints. But the point that I'm making is to answer your question, that was what that video was about. And we can play the video so that way we can see exactly what I said on there. And I know for sure I did not insult you. I did not call you names. If I mentioned Calvinism, I don't remember mentioning it, but I'll bring the video up and I'll look for the video. And if I insulted you, if you felt like I insulted you, I'll apologize. I don't have a problem with doing that. But that's nothing when you literally say when there's a video made about me stating that I can't read Hebrew on the pew, and then just certain things that was being said about me, that's actually was started questioning me like I don't know anything.
This sister right here, Pastor Kelly, sister Stephanie was around for a minute. She was around when all of this stuff jumped off. Can you answer this question for her here?
Can you read Hebrew? Absolutely, I can read Hebrew.
Talking to you, yeah. I think
she asked me the question. I can read Hebrew, but what I said was I cannot read what's on the pews. I made it clear that I can't read what's on the pews, and what that got taken that, hey, you know what? He can't read Hebrew. So again, and for me, I'm not. I don't have to prove myself to feel like I have to prove myself to you or anyone. If anything, what I said was, if it gets into the slander, if I get slandered, we'll do this in court, and I'll prove what I know inside the court system. That's what I would do. I let the judge determine what I can read and what I can't read. We'll stand before the courts. But
all right, hold on. I'm not sure if he froze or anything. Mr. Dante, you can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Let me ask you a question. I want you to come to the microphone. People act like I'm holding you back from the microphone. I just got a rotation way I'm doing it.
But that's neither here nor there right now.
Do you think? All right, I'm sorry. Hold on, Pastor. Do you think that we should, out of respect, people with YouTube channels discussing different things, we should hit each other? Sister Eve, Mr. Don, do you think we should hit each other? We should give each other a heads up. We shouldn't even say anyone's name to try to calm down on the confusion.
I think it depends on what it is. Now, when you have somebody like Vocab who tells outright lies, or he's being a hypocrite, like a few minutes ago, you heard them say that James White and Jeff Durbin were generalizing. That's his problem with what they said. Not that they call people sluts, hoes, pimps. They were generalizing, and yet he generalizes Israelites. He generalizes all Israelites. He calls it Black Hebrew Israelism, and he refuses to acknowledge that there are Christians who believe that they're Israelites. There are Muslims like Ice Cube that are posting that we're Israel. There are Muslims like Farrakhan saying that we're Israel. There are Israelites coming from all different walks and denominations. Now, Vocab is sitting up here saying that he doesn't see natural born Israel as being Israel and the church can be Israel. That sounds like replacement theology, which comes out of British Israelism, which is that racist stuff we've been talking about. But when we listen to Dr. Eric Mason, he says there was no white people involved in the writing of the Bible and that there are different promises for Israel and the church. He's not a replacement theologist. So even within the urban apologetics community,
we're split on that. Correct. We're split on that. Yeah.
But they want to lump everybody else together.
We've been doing a bunch of us been doing a bunch. I've been fighting against that, but I've even been guilty of that. We do a bunch of lumping.
But that's very important, Baran. That's very important. And I think that we got to look beyond. See, people are trying to trip you up. They're trying to trap us up by taking cultural information and trying to make it to strictly theology. And let me tell you something. If you look up the Christianity Today, for instance,
magazine,
the Christian Century online. This came out in September 18th, 2020, and it says, to understand African Christianity, remember the Battle of Adwa. So what is this doing? It's turning this a cultural element linked to African Christianity. You get what I'm saying? There's First Kings, Second Kings, First Chronicles, Second Chronicles. Matthew starts off with a genealogical record. There's prophetic statements made in the book of Revelations, in the book of Isaiah, in the book of Daniel. And when I was saying earlier, once again, this was deflected, was that we live in a culture where most Christians in America are dispensationalists. They're not what Vocab is. Most Christians in America believe in a separation between church and Israel. And they make millions of dollars a year selling books like The Rapture Left Behind. And they're saying that prophecies are being fulfilled because of Israel in 1948. So they believe, regardless that these people, most of those people in 1948 don't believe in the Messiah. So what he's saying is irrelevant. These are people that don't believe in Jesus, that they're given prophetic reference to. So my point is this: if they're giving prophetic reference to these European Jews, and if they are not the biblical Jews, who is? Where is the same bloodline that went down from Moses to Jesus? From Abraham to Moses? From Adam to Abraham? Did that blood just disappear? Is it a magic show that we at right now? Are they dinosaurs? Are they distinct? Somebody needs to answer this question. I feel like this is a part of the Black struggle. I don't care what Black organization you belong to in America, that is a part of the struggle, is knowing who you are.
Now, can I say something real quick, brother?
No, hold on.
Who are you? A Black Panther deal, if you go to a Black Panther, most Black Panther deal with, they identify with usually some kind of African country. If you go to Nation of Islam, they say from what? They're from the lost tribe of Shabazz. You get what I'm saying? Moorish Science Temple identifies with what? Africa, as far as Morocco is concerned. They identify to a cultural element. It is no difference for Hebrew Israelites. It's no difference for a Christian that wants to identify with their cultural ancestry. And for you to say that it's irrelevant, that we want to take everything cultural about you, that's once again putting you into a nigger category. an unknown, unclassified category.
A lot of people, hold on. A lot of people got a problem with certain things, but listen, I want some help. I want some help right here, Brother Jay and Minister Dante. Some stuff. Pastor Kelly said some stuff about the pew. Sister E said some stuff about the pew. I dropped a video on the pew. There was some back and forth. Abu faithful to God, and I said some things hoping that we can have continued dialogue, and that fell to the side. A lot of stuff falls to the side. Not just the pew, a few other things, Minister. The whole thing with the Wahudi, Sister Nephi, and Minister Dante, and we could never take it to where we can get on the platform and bring out the information for the majority, a good bit of people, like 500 people in here, for the majority of the people. How can we kind of push past this where we can bring out some information? Can you see that, Minister Dante? Can you see that, Jay, the producer? Can you see Nephi sitting down with all of us in here and Minister Dante sharing it, and we not getting to blowing shots and negative things, and we can work past it through with having some dialogue? Can y'all see that happening? Can this happen? Can we? Because I'm trying to see if we're going to get to a place outside of that. Can you see that, Vocab?
Can I say something real quick, please?
Hold on. Let Pastor Kelly go. Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
Going back to what I said about what Tazimore tried to do, Muhammad tried to do. What you just pointed out, he literally invited me and Pastor Majors to start that dialogue, and things went completely the opposite. The insults and lies, videos made of. I mean, it went to a whole nother level. I mean, to the point where before you know it, I'm seeing videos being made about me and my cousins saying we don't believe. I mean, we don't believe in Christ. We don't believe in this. We don't believe in that. And I literally, and Brother Barim, I still took the high road. With the whole thing with the pews, it's beyond that, because for me, I have my DNA and I have family history of the teachings of our family being Hebrew. This has nothing to do with what the talking points that's been out there. So I know that I'm a blood descendant of Israel. That's a fact. My DNA confirms it by way of the limba. That's a fact. I know my history. But the problem is just like what I said here. Hey, I don't have a problem with taking a video down. If let's just say Vocab said I got some information wrong or he's offended by it. But let's see if he's going to take down the videos that he just heard all of us express about, hey, pouring urine inside a brother's man's mouth. Hey, you know what? The parody of our people looking like we're illiterate. Let's see if he's going to take down the video with him calling, saying, hey, you know what? Oh, is he white? Or he call him a cracker. Oh, he's black. Call him a coon. If he's going to take that down, then that's going to show all of us that, guess what? You know what? This is a two-way thing, that he really gets it. Oh, now he's understanding what we're saying. I don't have a problem with doing that, but is he willing to do those things?
Come on, Vocab.
Pastor Kelly, were you there the number of times when Sister E called me Vocrap?
Well, who?
Sister E, when she called me Vocrap, were you on the panel? Yes or no?
When she called you what? I don't even remember her even calling you names.
She called me Vocrap a lot. And I remember you being in the chat when that happened, but you don't remember this?
I don't remember her calling you Vocrap. Okay. I'm just being straight up with you. I don't.
Okay, I believe you. That's okay. Okay, that's fine. You asked why I brought you guys up. The reason is because you were present when Mohammed Tanzimur was spewing slander against Pastor Eric Mason. That's why I brought you guys up, because you guys were saying, yeah, letting him say whatever about Pastor E. So that's why I brought you guys up, because you guys were all present. And I understand you're saying, hey, I'm respectful, I'm nice. Brother, when you talk about I'm going to sue somebody, that's not respectful or nice. That's not theological dialogue. And you said to Sister E, you can't read what's on the pews. We played the clip in the video. So I don't know why it's slanderous for us to literally repeat your own words, because if you can read Hebrew and the pews are in Hebrew, by a logical consequence, you should be able to read the Hebrew on the pews if it's Hebrew. The website does not say it's Hebrew. It says it's West African Arabic script. You implied that was because the church sold out to the white man. I saw videos where you slandered them that way. So you talk about this personal connection, yet you're willing to go slander a whole church, a historic church. Isaiah Roberts has talked about how precious that church is. You're going to go slander them. Now, listen, I respect any connection family-wise you have there, but look, I'm Sicilian. I found one day when my grandma died, I found my great-grandma's recipe for sauce. I'm glad it was in English because they knew how to speak and write Sicilian. I don't. If it was in Sicilian, I would have never been able to read it. My point is, regardless of that, that doesn't mean you are able to read it. In fact, you said I can't read it. So I don't understand why you would be offended when we're just saying what you're saying. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm trying to understand.
Hold on, Pastor Kelly.
I thought he was asking.
Are you willing to take down any videos that offend anybody? Because everybody feels vocab is cocky.
I don't want to take down videos. What I would like to do is, are you willing to debate? I'm offering you a challenge right now. Would you debate me on Berean's platform? Is
Sister Duffy in here?
Pews, is it Hebrew? I would like to offer you a challenge right now to debate me one-on-one. Is the writing on the pews in the church Hebrew? Will you do that? Yes or no?
Come on, Pastor Kelly.
I mean, again, where are we going at with that? I'm a Hebrew Israelite.
If you're going to make a video about it and say,
this is what you take that.
Hold on, Pastor.
Can you just let us talk for a minute and exchange?
Well, I want y'all to talk one at a time. I don't mind y'all talking.
Will you debate me, yes or no?
I'm not going to debate you because I don't have to confirm myself to you. That's my point. That's the part that you're not getting. Why do I have to prove that to you? I don't have to prove who I am to you. And that's the point that you miss. I'm not going to debate you about what's on the pews. I'm not going to debate. I don't have to prove anything to you. And that's the point that you're missing. That's the point that you're missing.
Did you hear what I said? The whole pew thing was left up in the air?
Huh?
You don't think the whole pew thing was left up? I think those are two things that the community was looking for that was left up in the air. That and the whole thing with Sister Nephi and getting back with Zondervan and Minister Dante and a few things that were left up in there. Do y'all think we can ever revisit that? What is he saying?
Can I do this here?
Yo, I want to respond to that sign because he holding up a sign that says not about lineage, it's not about language, but he sure did throw his Sicilian culture in there a second ago. He threw his lineage in there.
Come on, let her go. Come on.
Can I just say this real quick? I can put up here references prior to the changes that was made. I did not throw the church under the bus. What I said in the video is that the management is under new management, but I could show you the actual websites. I could show you the original website before it was changed almost 3 years ago. I could show you even the people there in the comments that they made. So where I'm getting at is I don't have to.
No, he said no. He don't want to debate. All right, go ahead. He don't prove
anything to this guy, and that's the point that he's missing. I don't have to prove anything to him. I have the proof. I have the video. I can show it right now if I wanted to. I could show you the original writings on the website. So just because I say I cannot read what's on the pews, even if I can identify a couple of letters, doesn't mean that I cannot read ancient Hebrew. Doesn't mean that I cannot read what is called modern Hebrew. But that's how they took that whole narrative to there. But this is going way out into a discussion that has nothing to do with the original discussion that was supposed to be here. And this is the biggest deflection right here. Why are we now going to this point right here?
Thank you, LeRon. We appreciate you in the super chat. Come on, Minister Dante, you wanted to talk about this culture thing that Vocab just said he just mentioned Italian.
Yeah.
Because no matter what, people gonna leave here offended with Vocab and what you doing, Vocab, how you moving, Vocab. People feel there's a difference between the way Vocab handling it, Jay the producer, and he don't want. Do anybody want to take any video that Vocab? You know people offended. Go, Dante, you got the microphone.
Was asking me. I debate Vocab on whether or not those European Jews are the real deal. And I will also like Vocab to address who's right. Pastor Mason, when he said no white people are involved in the writing of this book, or Nephi, when she said the Jews put in West Africa were European, because those are two opposite statements. But also, I do want to thank Jay, the producer, for apologizing. I do. And I find it very telling that he is culturally sensitive enough to understand that people were offended, and he apologized. And yet, when we address it with Vocab, Vocab makes excuses for it. Not once has he apologized, not once has he displayed the same character that Jay, the producer, has displayed, and yet he wants to act like he has a high road when he does not. Nobody that I know is it funny not black to call us coons, and he calls it a parody. Look up the definition of parody, and then go in the hood, Vocab, and call black people coons and ask them, do they think that's funny?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna mute you right now. Vocab, come to the microphone. Come to the microphone. I'm Jay, the producer, came on. He didn't even waste no time. As soon as he got on, he said A, B, C, and D. He took it down. Why can't you do the same?
Yeah, Jay, the producer, is a good brother, talented brother. I respect his convictions. I would never step on another man's convictions as part of Christian liberty. If you do something that you violates your conscience to that man, it is sin. The apostle says, and I agree with that. Much respect. Now, I want to point out something, though, that's very interesting. Even though Brother Jay set the record straight that he knew from jump what it was about, he understood because he was in the camp. He understood from the beginning, and he even disagrees with continued use. So you know he's being honest. I guarantee you, plenty of people who see this will still push the narrative despite what Brother Jay says. So on one hand, they'll laud Brother Jay, hey, yo, shout out, big up, big up. But if they won't take what he says at face value, the fact is that they've been lying, pushing a false narrative. So
what's that false narrative?
The false narrative that it was supposed to be about antebellum slavery from jump. Because Dante Fortson has a whole thing. We did a video debunking this where he says now he's trying to backpedal. He didn't even know how the timeline right.
You did backpedal. Did you drop the video before or after you made the slavery comment? And why did Jay, the producer, tell you wanted to talk off camera? Why did he say he wanted to talk off camera?
Brother Jay,
hold on.
because he hadn't seen the lyrics yet. He's not going to say yes. He ain't seen the lyrics.
But Jay, come to the microphone. Jay, it do look like Jay was like
Dante's not going to change his story. Now, Dante, will you debate me not on something I don't agree? I don't care to
debate you on what you want to talk about. I don't owe you anything. You debate me on whether or not they're white.
Hold on a minute.
You're a coward. I knew you would say no.
Why would you say no on what? Say no on what?
Dante makes all these videos about me, including a video called How to Sue Vocab Malone. How to Sue Vocab Malone. And he acts like he's nice or something, or Pastor Kelly's cool with him. How to Sue Vocab Malone.
I have no respect for you. Period.
But you're also afraid of me, and that's why you want to sue me.
I'm not afraid of you. You don't want to debate on if the white Jews are.
That's why you don't even show your face on camera
right now. You're afraid. Debate me on whether or not they are the real people. You don't debate me on whether yes or no. Will you debate me on whether they're the real people? Yes or no?
No.
Hold on, Vocab. Let him talk. Vocab. Hold on. Let him.
I just want to know if Vocab is willing to debate on who the real people of the book are, and we look at the evidence. And now I want Vocab to also tell us, is Nephi lying or is Pastor Mason lying? Because they gave two vastly different answers. She said they were European. Pastor Mason said no white people were involved in the writing of this book. So let's debate on who the people are, since people just can't even get their doctrine straight. Let's debate on that.
Okay, that's the only thing he's willing to debate on. Vocab, I'm gonna give you go ahead.
Yeah, Dante is, as usual.
Don't unmute yourself, Minister Dante, please. Go ahead.
Dante is misrepresenting what Nephi and Pastor E said. He is not a reliable reporter of information. And so I'm not going to debate something that, first of all, notice what the devil likes to do. He likes to cause division. So he wants me to debate a topic against two Christian apologists. He moves like a devil because he's always about division. He is the embodiment of John 10. Steal, kill, and destroy. And he is a coward because he won't debate me. He wants to sue me, and he never shows his face. He is the definition of a coward. Now, Dante, I will debate you on who the people are, specifically you. Can you prove, Dante Fortson, that you go back to the fourth son of Jacob, and that date is going to land you approximately 1938 BC? Will you debate me directly, specifically, not we? Because we is different according to one Wester versus non.
You keep deflecting. You're not in charge here. I will debate you about what I said. Yes or no?
All right, so you're a coward. No, because I don't agree with the position.
You're a coward because you won't debate me about who the real people are.
I don't agree with, bro.
I don't care what you agree with. You don't run nothing around here. We don't owe you no explanation, no answers. You're not even part of the community.
Go ahead, Vocab. Go ahead.
Dante, what I'm saying is I would never debate if I don't agree with the proposition I'm supposed to defend. You are telling me to defend a proposition I don't even agree with.
You don't agree with what? You don't agree that no white people are involved in the writing, like Eric Mason said, or you don't agree they were Europeans like Nefertiti? Be clear, because y'all's doctrine differs. What don't you agree with?
No. First of all, you're misrepresenting what they said. But what I was talking about is you're saying,
bro, I showed the screenshots and the video of them saying it themselves.
Defend the Ashkenazi Jews as the people, and I already explained my position on that. I will debate covenant theology. In fact, you got it totally wrong. You said covenant theology came of Anglo-Israelism. You don't know what's going on. Covenant theology goes all the way back. That's why
I said British Israelism.
That's why Anglo-Israelism is the broader term. If you're
replacement theology,
literature, but you're not. Look, it goes back.
I said replacement theology came from British Israelism.
Replacement theology wasn't a term until dispensationalists came around 1830. If you knew the history of eschatology, you would know that. That's why I'd be willing to debate you on covenant theology, because it goes back earlier to Paul and the Bible in general, but specifically in their church fathers. We got Justin Martyr, Irenaeus saying the same kind of things I'm saying. And so I'd be willing to debate covenant theology. I'd be willing to debate, but I'm not going to debate a proposition I disagree with or something that's designed by you to try to get apologists to fight. That's how the devil
so let's debate whether or not Jeff Durbin was telling the truth when he called the woke church a whore and he called Eric Mason a pimp. Let's debate that.
He didn't call Eric Mason a pimp. He never said any
names. He said, let's get these pastors out of the pulpit. We know who he was talking about.
He
said we need to get these pimps out of the pulpit, and we know who he's talking about. Stop playing. You are trying to defend Jeff Durbin because you are a closet racist, and Jeff Durbin is an open racist. And that is your boy.
How many people here think Vocab is a closet racist, and why y'all would think that? Go ahead, Vocab, because I know you're going to want to speak on that.
Yeah, Dante is very, very emotional. I may be a closet racist, but he might be. Never mind. I'm not going to go there, bro.
Oh, y'all going to let's try to come on, Mohammed. Come on, Mohammed. Come to the microphone.
Debate me on a serious issue.
Notice he didn't say he wasn't a closet racist. He said I might be.
What? No, that's not
what I said. I might be a closet racist. You didn't never once say.
No, I want Mohammed. No, hold on. I want both of y'all. I want Mohammed to chill. We're gonna do a couple of minutes because I got to go to work. It's a lot. We're gonna have to. We would have to pick this up. Mohammed, how are you seeing everything here? And we did mention a few people that may not be here, because if they were here, certain people would come to the. Since the nephew is not in here, right? I asked that earlier. Come to the microphone. Let me see. I don't see it. I would have seen. Mohammed, you got the mic. Mohammed.
Yeah, I mean, to me, this is like a very unfruitful conversation, and this went from a whole different layer of what we was trying to address.
How did that happen?
Something else. And I think it's funny that Vocab brought up the fact that he was causing division among the urban apologists, which is a very small group of people, in relation to what we globally were talking about. The initial part of the conversation was the cultural African Americans, Black people, Hebrew Israelites, everybody in general is a cultural people. It was a cultural conversation that we were engaging in first. And I brought up during that time that he was causing division. And then now he's deflecting this whole thing, the name calling, the beating around the bush, the turning, trying to, now you want to debate him on your theology. Like, that's not what this conversation was about, bro. Like, that's not what it was about. If all I want you to do is just you to analyze, just to sit back, just reflect on the energy that you bring to the table. Like, that's all I want you to do. Look at what you bring to the table. Is it really fruitful? How come every single person on this panel, except for Brother Jay, who I never really got a chance to conversate with, I had the ability to talk to them personally, to build with them. You talked earlier about don't call no man God. Well, guess what? The last brother who I made a reference to calling God, you know what happened? He was sitting in Epiphany Fellowship on Sunday. Matter of fact, we got another brother that's in the chat that can bear witness to a brother at his barbershop that's an Egyptian, Kemetic, and I spoke to him on his level and his language, called him by his God-given Egyptian name, and guess what? He asked for an invite so that he could learn more about the gospel.
Let me ask you a question.
So you got two different methods, working and not working. You got people being pushed away and people being embraced. You got Pastor Kelly being pushed away, then you got me inviting Pastor Kelly, and then me and Pastor Kelly praying and building his brothers. Me and Pastor Brown praying and building his brothers. We're going to deal with the theological differences. Stop fronting. Christians are not theologically united. So why we acting like we got to be theologically united?
Amen.
We're all Hebrew Israelites. It's a bold-faced lie, man.
Amen.
Let's be real.
All right, I'll mute you for a second. Do me a favor, Jay, the producer. You work with Vocab for a minute. You see a lot with Vocab. You see a lot of what's going on. How can we move forward with this whole thing? Jay, the producer, I don't want to hear, but from nobody from Jay. Well, how can we move forward with this? You come from the whole Israel thing. So you understand, you kind of got an understanding of both sides of the fence.
Yes, sir.
I looked at people that we would consider moderates totally differently. I thought we could sit down and build. Other people all over the place don't want to do it whatsoever. They say it's based on the lie. They try on the low trying to keep the law. This thing was answered in Acts 15. This thing was answered in Galatians. These are old heresies coming back. Can we build? Should we go our separate ways? You heard the whole thing with the Pews and Nephi and Minister Dante and what's the Bible dictionary and her emailing them. You heard, and you've been around from almost the beginning with a lot of this woke stuff. What do you think?
I'm gonna answer that question if y'all can give me like 5-6 minutes, because I got some extra I need to put in there.
Good. Well, you got the floor.
All right, cool. Concerning the bill or what should happen, this is something I've been saying for a while, so now that I got the floor to say it to a wider number of people, I'm gonna say it now. This is for also apologists as well. This is something I realized as I continued in the ministry and doing, talking to camps, non-camps, and then as the Lord transitions me from dealing mostly with that to just dealing with how to live in Christ.
Amen.
Is that I've always said, being a former member, I know what those guys' mindset is when they go out to these camps. If you want to reach them, if your motive is to reach them, going to the campgrounds ain't the place. They're not training to have a conversation with you. That's why every time people go out there, they start doing the chanting over, they're ignoring and different things like that. That ain't the form. If you really want to get them to understand, it's got to be in a more settled down situation, a side conversation or like a private phone conversation. But going out to the actual camp where they're in militant mode. Their whole goal out there is just go and talk to Black, Hispanics, Native Americans, or depending on what camp you go to, just Blacks. So that's their whole motive down there. They ain't out there to talk to me. They ain't out here to talk to G-Man. They ain't out there to talk to Vocab. They ain't out here to talk to anybody, especially if you carry around the title Christian. So if your goal is really to get these guys, every person I've seen converted, come out of the movement, it's always been private conversation, phone call, something like that. It's never been by me going out to the camp. It's always been, that's their battleground. So it ain't the place to go. I've already said,
you're specifically dealing with people that we would call messianics or some urban apologists would call moderates. You think it's a different tactic? How can we go further with the information? Like I say, Minister Nephi, Ms. Dante, Pastor Kelly, the Pews, information is coming out there because people are leaning towards DNA. People are looking at certain things because of statements that people are making, stuff that's coming out there. My brothers will tell you ministry, Minister Dante, things that Pastor Kelly is saying. And there's other people that's bringing information that's contrary to that, saying you have to look at A, B, C, and D. How can we do that with our messianic brothers and sisters and apologists and other that are putting information out there?
Right.
Because I think we got to handle them differently from the camps.
Well, yeah, you do have to deal with them. Differently from dealing with people like ISUPK or IUIC or something like that. When you're dealing with moderates, so even people that's not in camps that kind of take their doctrines from both sides. Yeah, you got to deal with everybody differently. I think the problem with the build part is that the direction and the focus. You got one side whose minds are set on the flesh and proving a fleshly lineage to Abraham. That's more important than the being in Christ child of Abraham. To a lot of them, they could believe on Christ, hear the gospel, but it's like this missing piece. They want to be the fleshly descendants for some reason. Me, I used to think like that, but once I realized the gospel, I could care less if I was a fleshly descendant because I knew that I was still a descendant of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They're still my forefathers. My culture was given by God. It's law, statutes, commandments of the New Testament. The way to live, how to eat, how to dress, how to deal with your neighbor. The way of life was given by Christ. So I know my forefathers. I know who my king is. I know where my nation is. I ain't talking about the Israel cross seas that everybody's fighting over, but I'm talking the New Jerusalem that's above, that is free, that will come down when all this is, when that Jerusalem across seas, everybody argument is blown to pieces by the fire. So when the New Jerusalem come down, that's my home and residency. So that's what I'm waiting upon, not go cross seas to that little small land of Israel, but the New Jerusalem that can encompass the whole earth, as the prophets say. Sorry for my mic, guys. So my homeland, I know it. My forefathers, I know it. My God, I know him. My king, I know him. My people, I know them. So there's nothing that I'm missing or lacking once I understand the gospel. When it comes to the fleshly seed, and this is why I always try to teach these brothers and sisters so they can understand, is that the law itself, Moses himself, proved that you do not have to be a fleshly descendant of a man to be his child. You see this in Genesis with the sin of Onan. God can declare you to somebody's descendant, even though you didn't come out of his loins. And so that's what the whole promise of Abraham was when it talked about his seed. Yes, it included some natural seed, but not because they're natural seed, but because they're not just out of his loins, but they believe on the Messiah. The ones who are native born but reject Messiah, they're not the true Israel, and they're not the true descendants. They're not the true descendants of Abraham. So after you've gone all through DNA tests, after you done prick blood of yourself, after you done did all this research by all these books to find, trying to connect the dots of, descendancy, once you've done all of that, and even if you prove or disprove you're an Israelite, you still haven't found the true people of God. You're still at ground zero because it's not according to fleshly descent. So yes, the true Israel or church encompasses the first believers were fleshly born Jews. But they were the church, and the gospel mystery is that the Gentiles were grafted into the same body, not separate, but the same body as Israel, fellow citizens, joint heirs. So when you're talking about the true Israel, that's including native born that believe and Gentiles that believe. That's the true Trinity of God, those under the blood of the covenant. And so trying to get them to understand that, because if they understand that and understand what comes with the gospel and comes with Christ, all the questions that they're trying to figure out, who's my people? Who's my God? What's my nation? What's my homeland? All those answers are answered in the gospel. It's given. And you don't have to go to the library and spend all this time researching to know it.
Okay, hold on a second.
But go ahead.
Okay, hold on a second. Appreciate that, Minister Dante. A lot of people, urban apologists, ministers in general, feel that way. There's a lot of backlash, a lot of stuff when Sister E got on. We talked about 2 hours when she got her DNA. But according to the Bible, you heard what LeBron said, appreciate him in the super chat, that the gospel is not about that. How would you speak to that as a Israelite? How would you speak to that culturally? You think people are just looking?
I find it interesting that they have that energy towards us when we talk about culture. The assumption is that we don't know everything Jay the producer just said. The assumption is that we put culture over Christ, and yet they don't keep the same energy with those European Jews who definitely don't believe in Christ and put their culture to the forefront. When we're walking around on St. Patrick's Day and seeing leprechauns, rocks in the color green, culture, and those people still call themselves Christian, and yet I haven't heard one urban apologist. People say stop putting your culture over Christ. We talked about how European the Christmas tree is, and we talked about the pagan roots of the Easter egg and the bunny and the great pumpkin and all that stuff. That stuff comes from culture, mostly European, and they have that stuff in the church. And yet when black people simply say we're Israel, we're supposed to mute our heritage, our lineage. We're not supposed to talk about that. And yet when we see Europeans do it, nothing. It's silent. So it tells me that there is a different energy towards black people when it comes to this culture thing, which means it's them making it about color and culture, not us. We are just trying to find the heritage that Europeans wiped out through slavery. They made us stop speaking the language. They the names. They wouldn't let us tell our history. They split up families. So they destroy an entire culture. And then they come in with the Bible. They pervert the words. They lie. They give us white Jesus. And then when we start looking into the history and the culture, suddenly it doesn't matter. Suddenly we're putting culture over Christ. Suddenly we're supposed to put our heritage to the background. And that to me is a problem if you're not doing that to everybody. Vocab just said he found his family's recipes and they understood Sicilian, but he didn't. That's culture. The recipes come from a culture. And yet I don't hear you telling Vocab that it's not about your culture. It's about Christ. So if you're going to keep that energy with Israelites, keep that same energy with every single person that calls themselves a Christian that ever mentions their culture, their lineage, their background at all, because Europeans are proud of their culture and don't nobody say nothing to them ever. But when it's us, it's a problem.
And I want to chime in on that too. And I'm chiming in as a Christian and not an Israelite. And this is what I'm chiming in on. Right now, we're dealing with the age. Right now, everybody's voting. People are going to the voting polls. That their voting poll, they're putting down what nationality they are. They're not putting Christian. Now they're going to church. And what you said, Brother Jay, is correct. It's correct spiritually. It's correct as far as our true spiritual understanding of who Christ is and what the gospel is. But it doesn't negate. If we apply what you said, Brother Jay, then we would be the only people on the face of the earth that applies like that. Because every other culture is going to identify with a culture. All the original churches started off in the culture. Every single earliest church had a cultural name to it. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church, the Greek Orthodox Church, the Armenian Orthodox Church, the Coptic Orthodox Church. If you look at the oldest manuscripts that they find, they belong to cultural communities. So what I understand from these brothers is that them wanting to understand, and those that do understanding are professing culturally as well. And we as Christians have a problem because we like to spiritualize everything, which I understand the true aspect of the gospel, our true relationship with Christ. It's not about culture, but that doesn't negate the fact that I'm a cultural person. I got other Africans that come over here. They say, I'm from Liberia. I'm from Uganda. I'm from Ghana. They're Christians and they identify with their culture. They can practice in their culture. They'll come in their African garbs. If this man that chooses to identify as an Israelite, what's wrong with that? And what garb does he go to church in? Or what garb does he go to his temple, synagogue, or wherever he goes to worship in? What garb does he put on? What language can he choose to study? And can he choose to study that language and study that and dress that certain way and have pride in it? And if that happens to be a Hebrew culture, a Hebrew heritage, then what's wrong with that? Why do we as Christians have such a problem with these brothers and sisters wanting to deal with a Hebraic culture? How come we're the only ones that culture is irrelevant to our relationship with God? Everybody else clearly identifies their culture with their relationship with God. And we're talking beyond Christians. We're talking humanity.
Y'all heard what Mohammed just said? Do me a favor, type one in here. Do y'all
Gautama Buddha is from where? Gautama Buddha is from India.
Hold on, because a lot of people say, a lot of believers, a lot of apologists, a lot of ministers, a lot of people feel it's fruitless talk. Christians feel it's fruitless talk, Alton, because people are actually diverting from the true gospel of Christ when we talk about culture. Do y'all think that anyone that gets out here talking about DNA and pushing anything about the law and bloodline Israel, that they're deceived and attempting to take people away from the true message of the cross, and therefore it's an enemy of the Christian church and those that have come in and part of the mystery of Gentiles coming in? Come on, Pastor Kelly.
Yeah, I just want to give clarity, and I appreciate Brother Jay for sharing his thoughts. And I want to make it clear, and Brother Bahrain, you know me, been around me long enough. The only reason why I did my DNA is because I kept getting asked, prove us I got asked by many within the apologetic. I'm not going to say all the urban apologists, but I got receipts that many asked me for. Can you prove it outside of your family telling you that this is who you are, right? This goes back, right? So when I did my DNA, not one, but twice, actually more than that, each one confirmed that I am a blood descendant of Israel, literally, right? But then the needle moved. Oh, that doesn't matter. You know, it started like Dante pointed out, generalized. But I do know Paul said in Romans 11, chapter 1, I say then, have God cast away his people? God forbid. For I also am an Israelite of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin. If that didn't matter, Paul didn't have to mention all of those different things. See, the problem is when we start really going back to what Dante said. I mean, I started pastoring while I was still up under Christianity and transitioned our ministry from there. Right. But I literally was in a discussion with a group of pastors, and and one of the pastors made a comment asking the question, what is wrong with the black community? And this is a Caucasian, right? He said, what is wrong with the black community? Why are they leaving the church? Why is there such a disconnect? And so I spoke up because of, and basically the same things that Bishop Mason has said in his woke church book. I didn't, of course, this is prior to I even knew about Bishop Mason, but gave clarity about a lot of the racism, a lot of the different things we had to deal with. But this pastor, another pastor, said, you know what? I see what you mean, brother. He said, I am an African American. Guess what? This is a Caucasian. He said, I'm an African American. I was born in Africa, but now I'm an American citizen. But he said, you know what? You're right. What can the Negroes here say that their heritage is? He said, I can still tell you, even though I'm an African American, I'm Portuguese. I can still, differentiate that. Other cultures can, but he said these are other pastors that I'm dealing with. But the problem is when you give certain proofs, as Dante said, anything but the Negroes. It seems as if when we start showing with proof, then the needle gets moved. It goes from, okay, show me your DNA. Okay, well, the DNA doesn't matter. Or this doesn't matter. So that's why I'm at a point now. I'm not trying to prove anything from anyone. Guess what? I believe in the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. We preach and teach the salvation to all of our people. We're not racist. We're not any of those things. So when we use the term moderate, that's why many of us get offended, because that's still putting a label and still grouping us under a label. I don't see Christians calling each other moderate Christians. I don't see Christians calling themselves a moderate Baptist, a moderate, all these different denominations that's when there. But when it comes to us, there has to be a label placed upon us. And then now you demonize that label all the way to, as Dante pointed out, Israelism. When did Israelism become an ugly term? Israelism, it simply means the doctrines of Israel. The Bible is the doctrine of what? The Israelites, no matter how we look at it. So I just want to give a little clarity there. I completely understand what you're saying, Brother Jay, but I want to make it clear. I didn't do my DNA because I felt like I needed to do it for myself. I already knew who I am through my family heritage that extends beyond Crowdy that we hear talk about. So I did it because, hey, let me have this proof right here. And I confirmed it with not one, not two, but several, in which the Jewish community has confirmed about the Bantu Limbas, said that they are blood descendants of Israel. They proved that about the Ethiopian Hebrews, the Yemen. They proved those things. So that's what I'm just saying. I'm not brushing, saying that's my salvation, right? That's the end all and be all, that I don't need Christ. But at the same time, when you are a person that lost your heritage, that is part of salvation, because salvage means to salvage everything. When a woman was made whole, being made whole is mean that you have been healed in every aspect of your life, not just the physical thing that you're dealing with. Relationships were repaired. I know that DNA is not the end all and be all, but I just want to just be clear why I did it, because of the things that have been going on and the attacks that has been coming this way, just so that way I can have it right here to knock that down, just in case someone went to further go beyond that, like I deal with the church down in Savannah, Georgia.
Physical DNA means nothing. Physical bloodline means nothing. Is there God doing something in the last day, Jay, producing with Israel? Is that Bible or the church is Israel and we all Israel and we ain't got to worry about that? It's all a waste of time right here.
Yeah, the truth is that the church that's made up of native-born Jews that believe and Gentiles that believe, they're the true Israel, or the Israel of God. And I wanted to speak on that. I appreciate the pastor's response. And I want to say this, guys, I've said this multiple times. When it comes to people,
I hate you, Ron.
When it comes to people saying they're Israelites because they proved they were Israelites because they're DNA test, I actually don't even argue with those type of people. Like,
Okay.
I just let them, whatever. I got my own personal beliefs about DNA, but that ain't my issue why I come against the movement. My issue is when they're taking passages like Deuteronomy 28 and things like that and conflating those curses and saying they only come from one person, people, and that's how we know we Israelites. Transatlantic slave trade, ships, going to slavery, that whole thing, because I know that's deception and it's lies, it's exaggerations, and they're conflating other passages like Jeremiah 14, they are black unto the ground, and different things like that. That's my issue.
That's a big issue. That's a big issue. If a lot of scriptures are taken out of context to prove something, and they're all out of context, that's a big issue.
And
you think Messianics use those same scriptures that camps will use out of its context?
Well, I'll say that I haven't since coming out of the movement, I haven't heard many Messianics as far as talking. I used to be a part of a Messianic Jewish congregation before I got into the Black Hebrew Israelites, and at least while I was there for that time, they never used any passages like that. But at least in that way. And but I want to speak to this though, because there's a huge issue, and I get a lot of flack among Christians when I go in about this. Is the Black Hebrew Israelite movement, specifically the One West, have their breakdowns and it's all crazy, and people get, they're dropping out of church like flies, and they ended up going in there or some Hebrew roots or something like that. But a lot of their gripes, when you listen to the people that go into the movement, a lot of their gripes have to do with the sins of the church, the paganisms, the Christmas, the Easter bunny, these type of things that when I talk about it, a lot of these brothers come and say these are non-essentials and this are Romans 14. These ain't no Romans 14 issues. When the apostle was dealing with Romans 14, it had nothing to do with heathen feasts.
We're on the same page with that, because if the camps are banging so hard, I'll tell the church, give up the tree. But they don't want to. Go ahead. Right.
And so, those type of things, you got to deal with that, and not in a disingenuous way. And honestly, the debates and sources and all that, it means nothing, because at the end of the day, the apostle, if we learn anything from Romans 14, is this: even if it was a liberty for you to do, even if it was liberty, like with meats, it's a liberty, any meat under Christ, right? Yet, if it's going to destroy your brother, it's a sin for you to eat it. You're no longer walking in love and charity when you defile your neighbor's conscience by your meat, which was a liberty for you. So if you take a matter of a liberty and cause it to be a matter of sin by destroying people like these feasts are every year, then you just to ignore that and to continue on in this thing is sin anyway. So that's my big gripe with that. So a lot of the issues that y'all having dealing with the Black Hebrew Israelite movement and their gripes has to do with the perversions that took place in Rome that nobody really want to talk about. But I want to say this, and then I'll drop the mic and let y'all continue the conversation regarding kind of response to the pastors. As that's why I said what I said about the gospel and the heritage and everything, because you was talking about, after the people, they may know the spiritual part of it, but they still, it's this connection. They want to know, what is my heritage? And if we go back to the scriptures and deal with the nation of Israel, and we look at what their heritage was like when they sinned against God, and he said, I'm gonna cause you to discontinue from your heritage, which I gave you, which he gave them. It had nothing to do with their earthly Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It all had to do with what God has given them. God gave them and called them that name, Israel. God gave them those laws that established what we would call Jewish culture. Gave them laws. He gave them that promised land. He gave them those things, and he took it away when they disobeyed him. But then through the promise of the Messiah, he promised to give them an eternal inheritance. So in terms of homeland, the New Jerusalem, where no nation can ever come and do a siege and throw you out or cut off the food supply and you eat your own kids again. No nation can come and drive you into slavery out of it. Why? Because ain't no wicked doers can even inherit the thing. Only the meek can. So when it comes to the laws, right? No nation can, you ain't got to worry about nations going in and changing up pictures or changing up words in the law, because he took it and wrote it in the inward fleshly tables of hearts, where nobody can remove them, just as he promised through Jeremiah. I will put the fear of you in me, and I will cause you to walk in my statutes and ordinances. So you ain't got to worry about no heathen nations. When it comes to the image, you ain't got to worry about no statue. That's why all the Christians need to throw away all them Jesus images, the black ones and the white ones. They all need to go in the trash, because they're all idols. Because you don't need no image of what you think Jesus looked like, because if you've been born again, you are being conformed to the image of Christ. You're the image. So walk like it. And stop being heathens. So with that being the case, man, the heritage that people are thinking they're missing, they will find it in the promises through Christ, through the gospel. Why? Because the heritage God gave the children of Israel under the First Testament, he established them as his people by way of what? Blood. When Moses spoke all the words of the covenant to the people, he sprinkled the people, the altar, the ark of the covenant, everything with blood that ushered them. When God said, today I establish you as a people before me, not them only, but them Gentile multitudes that was with them that day as well. So it was by blood they were established.
All right, thank you. I appreciate that. All right, listen, let the vocab Mohammed, I'm gonna let y'all wrap it up. Still 500 here.
I want to make one.
I have a question for Brother Jay.
I appreciate the link.
I'm gonna quote. Hold on. I want to quote John MacArthur real quick because everybody knows who John MacArthur is. I was going to quote a quick sentence from him where he says, "There is still a future and a kingdom involving the salvation and the restoration and the reign of the nation of Israel." So my point is this: if you got a very prominent Christian pastor
that Israel still got,
this is what he preaches, and this is the physical nation that he's talking about, and he's basing sermons and prophecies around this, why can't this issue be properly addressed? And one thing that we got to realize too is that we have to. I heard Brother Jay talk about the different elements that was born into Christianity through the holidays. One thing we have to realize with us being just Americans in America is that we live in a country that's separated by church and state. These other countries don't function and think the same way. So in an Islamic country, Sharia law is in conjunction with their culture and religion. And the Hebraic culture is the same way. So this is where we get in these greater dynamics at, is because culturally and religiously, they related. So this is why we gotta get distinct conversations when we're talking with these brothers and sisters. It's not as simple as we want to make it to be. Our Western mind doesn't think the same as the biblical dynamic of who Israel was. There was no separation between church and state. So the word law, for instance, takes a whole different dynamic when it relates to cultural as well as spiritual. But when you live in a society where the two don't link, you know, in an Islamic country, if they speak out against homosexuals, that's not just spiritual law, that's civil law as well. It's called Sharia. Over in America, it's different. You can speak out against homosexuality, but it has nothing to do with political law. Political law can say you can have all the homosexuals you want because there's a separation between church and states. There's a different mentality that we have to look at when we're engaging these brothers and sisters. And if John MacArthur can make this statement that he made as a prominent pastor, as a prominent leader, and you feel it's not an issue with that, and it doesn't make you say, okay, he's clearly talking about the restoration, the salvation, and the reign of the nation of Israel. Who is that?
Okay. All right. Vocab come on. What do you have for vocab? What do you have for vocab? A vocab, you came on here, a whole lot was said. I don't know if your feelings are any different. A lot of people are still on here. It's late. I got to go to work. I done made some posts. I'm finna walk away from the whole church. I'm all aggravated, but a lot of stuff is happening. I see some things happening. Mohammed, you came out between myself, Minister Dante, his video. A lot of stuff done went down. A lot of stuff has been said. Come on, Vocab, before Mohammed even gets started.
Well, I appreciate you being willing to do this. And if Pastor Kelly changes his mind, if he wants to defend his video about the Hebrew on the pews, I'll be glad to debate him or on your channel if you'd be willing to have it.
I'm willing to have it. If he's willing to.
Yeah,
The same thing with Minister Dante, with and Sister Neffy, anything we can have. Conversation is, I think I put a lot on the line. A lot of people misunderstanding me, but this is what I've always wanted. There's 500 people in here. It's believers in here. It's Israel in here. It's Oneness Apostolic in here. It's Baptist folk in. It's everybody in here. And we need to talk, and we need to bring some things out. And we could say what we want. You prominent in the apologetic community with this whole Israel thing. A lot of people feel a certain way. Mohammed came out running with Dr. E for a long time, and we got to work through all of this. Come on, Mohammed. You got a question? You got a question or anything specifically for Vocab?
I mean, I still stand on the words that I said about Vocab. Like I said, I didn't call him any specific names or anything like that. And when I made reference to him, you know, not being a part of the cookout, I still want you to take that in consideration, not as a level of disrespect, not as a level of somebody doesn't like you, but in the simple fact that I just think you need to be more aware of your presence culturally and how you're dealing with us as a people. Period.
You don't think he should back out? You don't think you think it's wrong to equate him with Vlad and thinking he's a culture vulture? You think he should back out of all of the work that
I mean, to be honest, at this point, I do feel Vocab as a culture vulture. I mean, that's just me being honest. If I don't keep it 100 with you, then I don't know what else I can be. But I don't know the full motives behind it. I feel like if your conversation is honest right now with what's going on, if you look at the dynamics and the conversation that took place today, to me, if that was me, I'm just saying, if that was me, part of me would fall back, analyze things, and look at the full perspective if I'm truly about the full gospel of Christ. There's a whole bunch of different dynamics that we can get into. Like I said, we don't talk spiritual, physical, the whole nine, and it's a lot. We're not going to solve this in this 2-hour conversation that we're having. So, I'm always going to see you as a brother in Christ. That doesn't change. Okay,
so you definitely see him as a brother in Christ.
I have to.
Okay,
I have no option. I mean, come on. You're going to be seen as a brother in Christ. But guess what? I got a brother, little nigga bigger than me, and when we get into stuff, he's going to get his lumps. That's just the way it is. That's if you truly family, then we got to take these lumps and analyze it, fight back, and keep it moving. So if you really want to put spiritual family first, then do that, and acknowledge that we have some physical things as a culture that needs to be taken care of as well. And I think I'm speaking when I say we need as less negativity, as less violation, as less unnecessary engagement as possible. That's all I'm saying.
Come on, Vocab.
Grace and peace.
Yeah, I rock with a lot of that. You're not going to find me contradicting a lot of what you said there. And, in that debate I mentioned, I did a Sunday night on Debate Talk for You. Even though I said that as far as ethnic Israel, there's not, I don't know, some kind of major plan or role that they have as a progressive covenantalist. I still said, and this is true for a lot of us, that it does definitely appear. And so that's what I hold to in Romans 11. So you don't have to be a dispensationalist to all of this, that there will be some kind of end times mass revival of ethnic Israel. But even people that hold that recognize, hey, we kind of don't really know who's who, who's what tribe, for example. And everybody who does look at the DNA should recognize, if we're being honest, that there's not a one-to-one correlation really between any modern people group and people walking around 2,000 years ago. And this is definitely true with those who would be, call themselves Israelites as well. That's different than saying, though, that there's no DNA present in those communities that can be traced back to the Levant and things like that. But, I'm not trying to do the whole DNA thing. I'm just saying that I recognize Romans 11 being sort of an important promise to ethnic Israel. But I don't go around really claiming to be who that is, or to sort of make an ethnic priority for that. But so I just want to point that out. I'm not. So, MacArthur, of course, is sort of I mentioned in the beginning, sort of an exception. He's kind of a reform guy who's sort of dispensationally still. And so, but you can be of a different position and still hold to that last times. And I agree with that. But I don't see that it's an impetus for us to determine who's who. That seems like that's God's work. That's God's work. He's going to do that final spiritual gathering, and he knows who's who, and whatever happens. I'm a strong believer in the sovereignty of God. So I praise God for whoever it is and however they come. I'm just going to say amen. I'm not going to, well, they're not actually, hey, amen. And so I'm with that. So I agree with a lot that was there as far as the end part. And again, Berean, if they're willing, I'm willing, let me know. It doesn't sound like they are. I don't mean you.
Yeah, well, they'll talk. We'll talk. We'll work something out. You're welcome on here. I listen. We here for dialogue. Well, I think dialogue is the main thing. It's 480 people in here. 480 people. Some people would like to have certain things. There's going to be folk, they're going to feel some type of way. There's going to be folk that's watching. It's going to be folk that have their own opinions and think certain things. But then there's going to be those other people that's in the middle, and they want to get the information and just look. I don't think talking is confusion. I don't think asking questions are confusion. I think we all understand what the pure gospel is. That offends me when people try to act like Israelites or my Messianic people aren't saved. They don't know the gospel. They don't know the nature of Christ and all of this other stuff. They're claiming Israel rock out fringes. If I say I'm a Cushite, I don't need no fringes, and you better not bother me about no fringes and salvation. And I think a lot of us are already to that place, but we want to go further in the dialogue. I think that Pew thing would be a good dialogue. I think talking about DNA, LeBron, I think that's good dialogue right there. I think it's good dialogue with the whole Zondervan and the Pews, because the most importantly, people can say what they like if we're and I think most people in here, we're beyond the 12 chart, the tribes chart. I think if we're quoting scriptures that's clearly out of context to prove a point and started a whole movement, that's a problem. So I am black unto the ground, Jew to black people in America, and you connect that with the chart, that's a big, big problem. If we straight eisegete and text, that's a big, 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 big problem. So I think we need to have discussions, open discussions with respectable people. I think you, Mr. Dante, both got the same energy, so it'll sound like people are it's a lot of beefing going on. If we can all tone down on the name calling and get the dialogue, and I think it'll be a good thing if we can try to do that. I don't know if it'll go as far as you got to hit Mr. Dante every time you get ready to drop a video. I don't know if we'll ever get to that. And I remember the other pastor even saying that, before he say names, I think he should give us a heads up, and I flipped out. I'm like, I'm somewhere else with that. But you always welcome on. Mohammed peeps, you always welcome on. Pastor Kelly, Pastor Major, Sister Ede peeps, we can all dialogue. If apologists want to get on, other people want to share their views. I remember people came on, they respectively, the brother Alton came on to respectively share his views, and people hit me like, boy, if you don't stop this right now, but I got to be fair. If I say I want dialogue, even though somebody can view things differently, try to get a brother. I've never got to check that other phone. Brother Dana Stevens been trying to get me for a couple of days. Sometime I leave this other phone in the house. But Vocab, you welcome anytime. Mohammed, you welcome anytime. Is there anything y'all want to say in closing? Vocab, you ain't working with the feds, are you? You ain't working with the feds, are you, Vocab?
The Sicilians have never had a good
with the
relationship
feds.
with the feds.
All right.
To us, FBI, the only good FBI is full-blooded.
Okay.
It is not, no, but in all seriousness, to me, that's crazy. As far as my political views, I'm more libertarian. So I have a problem with government overreach into, like, for example, basically agencies exploring religions just because they're religions, like what did happen. And there's interesting debates about the FBI and what they should or should not do in regards to Islam these days. It's an interesting thing. But I think we're overall, I'm not saying there's no problem or anything, in a better place than where we were when you had Malcolm's right-hand guy being an agent and just crazy stuff that's sort of unbelievable, and files on people that shouldn't have files on. And it took forever for the KKK to really be, it's just all kinds of problems. Classified, is a way, and it's still unclear how they're classified. All kinds of massive problems. So like my point by saying all that is, I was doing apologetics prior to Hebrew Israelism, and he asked where that term came from. It came from the old school Anglo-Israelism. The old school term the apologist had for it was Anglo-Israelism and British Israelism. So it's just a continuation of the idea, since it's a different thing. That's what it is. But I was doing apologetics prior, and this is just a continuation of a different type of apologetics, is all it is. I have a regular job. I'm not getting government money. I can't even get nothing from YouTube. It's just, this is like a labor of love. There's nothing fancy waiting for you involved in urban apologetics for anybody. And that's one more thing I say about Pastor E. Him getting involved with urban apologetics, dropping a book on it, making a focus, that ain't the way to really get your shine on. He's doing it out of a pastor's heart, because this is real small stuff. They want to take on atheists. Second, you do urban apologetics, you're going to have these mainstream evangelicals coming after you, as well as the people you're dealing with. It's like, it's sort of in some ways it's a no-win situation, but it has to be done nonetheless. So my point is, no, my heart is different for this. And that's just not what it's ever been about. And if you go back, you can find really old stuff for me that shows a long-term track record of this. Now that's what Dante Forza tries to do. He says, well, look, this guy, he's created a whole narrative. It's kind of fascinating. But nah, it's not about that. And I'd be willing to talk about that anytime as well. But just let me know.
All right, come on, Mr. Dante. We're gonna give you the closing words.
All right, so we heard what Vocab had to say. He didn't deny being a racist, didn't deny being an agent. He said he made a video about the KKK, even though we've seen tons of videos about the Israelites. But more importantly, I want to end with this verse from Jeremiah 12:13, something the church does not want to address when they, 12:14 through 17. The church doesn't want to address this when they start talking about Bible prophecy. Brother Jay mentioned Deuteronomy 28. 28:46 says, these curses shall be a sign and a wonder upon Israel. They don't want to talk about who those signs fit. But coming back to Jeremiah, this is straight from the book. Jeremiah chapter 12, verse 14 is a prophecy. It says, thus saith the Lord against all my evil neighbors that touch the inheritance which I have caused my people Israel to inherit. Behold, I will pluck them out of their land and pluck the house of Judah from among them. And it shall come to pass after that I have plucked them out, I will return and have compassion on them and will bring them again, every man to his heritage and every man to his land. Now, that word heritage is right there. God is going to return people to their heritage. So for them to say that heritage isn't important and it doesn't matter, why is God returning people to their heritage if none of this stuff matters? This is part of the confusion that the church has caused. The other part of the confusion that I want to close out on is this term, Black Hebrew Israelism. They are intentionally lying to people at this point because we've already expressed to them multiple times that Israelites do not believe the same thing. We've said it over and over and over again. It's not that they don't understand it. It's that they choose to lie at this. If you're going to say there's such thing as Black Hebrew Israelism, you are a liar. You need to be very specific. Is the Israelite a Baptist? Is that Israelite a Pentecostal? Is that Israelite sitting in a Muslim mosque? Be very specific when you say Israelites are twisting scripture and Israelites are doing this, because not all Israelites believe the same thing. And all the attacks that the urban apologists have made on me, and you guys saw G-Con in the chat today, right here tonight, replay the chat. G-Con called me Dante Foreskins, called me out of my name. Vocab didn't say a word. But the urban apologists, they have been trying to cause confusion in situation. And have they attacked my faith that is on Bible.com? Statement of faith is written plain as day, and not once have they attacked that statement of faith. There is a reason for that. They don't want you to know what Israelites truly believe. They would rather falsely lump all together in order to cause confusion and paint a false narrative about all Israelites. I was minding my business before all this. Vocab Malone threw my book into a video of his, lumping me with the camps, not knowing anything about what the book was about. Then he has misrepresented my position on the 400 years since the start. He claims that I have said things I didn't say. And that is my problem with Vocab Malone. He lies and then he pretends he's not lying. And then he is offensive and racist towards the community. And unlike Jay, the producer, he won't even apologize for it. He won't even acknowledge that it's offensive and that it's wrong. At least Jay, the producer, apologized. And that's my problem with Vocab. He has no the culture. He wants to have in the culture. He's damaging the culture and causing confusion among our people. And he's not doing this to anybody else's people. He only feels that he should do this to Black people. We didn't hear him give a crystal clear answer on James White or Jeff Durbin. He only said they generalized. He didn't say they were liars for calling the woke church a bunch of whores and sluts. So that tells me that Vocab agrees with them. If he can't call it a lie, he agrees with it. So he needs to call them liars or agree with it. Be clear. All right, we're gonna pick up on this tomorrow. We got to, if Vocab want to jump back on, we got to talk about that 400 years and some. If you got any specific gripes with any specific videos, timelines, I heard a couple of people talking about them 400 years. We can pick that up. Is the church out here lying? Did the church give us the rapture and lying and don't want to deal with the last days and has everybody confused? We gotta go in there. Ron, we appreciate you in the super chat. To get your point across, you done gave us $100, Ron. We appreciate you. But we gotta look at all of these other things. So hopefully we can pick up some of this tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Mohammed, you started a bunch of this stuff. You was chilling and then you done got out here and
We don't know what's what, but we're gonna continue this. Hopefully that dialogue can come up, like I said with the other sister. Maybe we can, get back to the dialogue with the pews, the slavery, the DNA, and all of these other things. Hopefully we can, and just the law and everything else. But Vocab, you welcome. You welcome. Anybody else want to jump on? Give somebody ask about your information. Give your information. You too, Minister Dante, and Mohammed, your information. How can they get in contact with you?
Right now, you can hit me up on Facebook, on Messenger.
Okay, and that's Mohammed. Come on, Mr. Dante.
You guys can check out my channel right here on YouTube, right under my name, Dante Fortson, DanteFortson, and please go check out the video Vocab Malone referenced and said I call Cherry closet lesbian. Please go watch it.
I got it. Yeah, shout out to Sister Cherry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to everybody. I'm sorry to everybody. I've been ignorant. If I have blocked you, forgive me. I can't even. My block list is so long. But y'all forgive me. I'm trying. Y'all just pray my strength in law. Come on, Vocab.
Yeah, I mean, you ain't doing nothing wrong. It's Dante you shouldn't rock with. You see all the charges he makes, but he won't show his face and he won't debate and just calls people liars and all this and mixes all kinds of stuff up. I mean, it's a real tragedy the way this dude operates. I mean, if that'd be a beautiful thing to debate.
What
did Dante falsely prophesy the 4 years prophecy? I guarantee he
no, I told you we're picking up on this tomorrow at 8 o'clock.
You're right, but he will not debate me. He wants to do long.
Oh, I'll debate you on that. Please, let's debate on did I falsely prophesy something? Please, let's debate on that. Did I falsely prophesy anything? Please, let's debate.
So you'll debate the 400 years prophecy?
No, we're gonna admit that I was false, that I falsely prophesied something. We're gonna debate that statement you just made. Please, let's
debate the 400 years prophecy.
He just said yes.
All right. Excellent. Excellent.
We're gonna pick this up tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. But we do got to speak about that Jeremiah that he brought out. We got to speak about some of that, but we'll deal with the 400 years, because if the 400 years are lie, if people are eisegeting the text, we got a problem. If it's the camps, if my messianics are eisegeting the text also, twisting up certain scriptures and trying to make it fit something that it doesn't fit, we have to bring that out if we can do it with all respectfulness. All right, y'all, we're going we're going to jump off right now. I appreciate everybody. Y'all can get in touch with me at bereanteach@gmail.com. We appreciate the love. We appreciate the support. I got to go to work in a couple of hours, but if tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, we'll start with that 400 years. We can go with that.
I can't debate tomorrow night. I got a thing tomorrow night, but I mean, I'll debate it, but tomorrow night I'm in service.
Okay.
I'll debate him. I'm glad to see he's finally pumped that Kool-Aid out his veins.
No. We can. No. We'll send a data.
Notice what he said, right?
Yeah.
I heard.
I just like the fried chicken emojis in G-Con's picture, right?
No, man.
The Kool-Aid has to do with that means you're sweet and a coward. There's nothing to do with that.
Whatever you say.
See, it's so funny. This dude must be from the suburbs.
It looks like. It ain't what it looks like always.
He doesn't even know. He doesn't even know the phrase. It's when you have Kool-Aid pumping veins.
You ain't got real names.
How about the weekend?
Why are you trying to change it, you liar?
You're not part of the culture. You're not part of the culture.
This dude grew up around all white people.
You can't call me the N-word. Muhammad can call me the N-word. You can't.
Okay, bro, hold on. We're not going to bring up the N-word.
Coward. That's a word.
Listen, hold on, folks. Hold on. How about this weekend? We could try to, whenever y'all free, we could try to get on the 400 years would be a good place to start. That 400-year problem, that would be a good place to start. What about this weekend? Somebody said.
I gotta look at my schedule. I mean,
y'all just look at it and let me know.
Do this.
I'll clear my schedule, Marine. Whatever I got going on, I'll clear my schedule.
Yeah, amen. Thank you, brother. Thank you.
I'm about 2 weeks out where I could do it, but I'm down to do
this. Okay, we'll definitely do it though.
Like I said, I'm glad the brother got an IV in there to get it out. That's good.
Okay, we appreciate y'all. God bless everybody. I gotta go to work, man. We appreciate you. I'll hit y'all later on, Muhammad. We'll try to figure something out, Mr. Dante. How we gonna do it? All right, Vocab 1.